Innovation.
Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between, yeah, it's all that. And we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
What it is, what it do. We're on. We're up. Saturday, it's noon. You know what time it is. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. Of course, I'm with the one and only Righteous Reg. What's going on, bro?
In the building, it's your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster, your favorite list maker? Question mark. I don't know. The questions are still in the air, Phil, at this point.
I can't comment because
it's Saturday morning. It is Grapsody Podcast, and I am very excited to be here. Yeah, I kind of want to immediately get into it because it was very funny how this happened last week. Philip Lindsey. So, I did the top 10 drop on Busted Open Radio the morning of Saturday last week. Did the pod. We had a good time. Mm-hmm. So after the pod happened, I'm like, okay, I'm like trying to put the finishing touches on this list. I'm essentially trying to get it on to the little paper. And I was frustrated. I couldn't get it right. I was just having issues. I'm not a graphic designer. It's just like, I want to just get it out there so I don't have to bother anybody. I don't have to do anything. So I'm just like working on it for a couple hours, and I just like, it's not working out for me. So I end up going out to eat. I went to go try to clear my head, had a terrible drink, and just was like, I don't like, the things weren't working out for me. At one point, I texted my friend and co-host here, and I was like, yo, I need your help, man. Like, things aren't working out for me. I'm going through it. And so I sent that text message and I was kicking it. I was not watching WWE's Bad Blood at the time. I wasn't on the internet. I wasn't doing anything. So at one point in that Saturday, I had given up on putting the BW 500. I was like, I'm just going to put it out in the morning. I'm going to get it out of my head. Forget about this. So I'm just sitting, chill. I'm like forgetting about it, chilling. And then my phone starts going off because people are like, hey, did you see your homie Credit Boy Triple H in this press conference say that he doesn't see color? And I was like, what? And so I watched the clip, Phil, and I said, this has to go out right now. And so as soon as I saw that clip, I got on and I finished it. I got it ready and I released it. Like, thank you, Triple H, for the alley-oop. The BW 500 has officially released Saturday night because the Credit Boy said he does not see color. Philip Lindsey.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely get into that topic. I saw your message, but my phone had died. So after we did our podcast, I was up at a crazy hour working on other stuff ahead of our podcast. So I didn't get a ton of sleep. So afterwards, I did our usual after podcast stuff, doing our timestamps and doing other stuff. And I didn't realize my phone died. So I ended up working on something else. And then I ended up falling asleep. And I looked over and I was like, oh, my phone's dead. So I plugged it up. And that's when I saw your message. I was like, damn, well, I missed all of that.
It all worked out, though. And so I was like, no, it's just time. The time is up. The time is now. Triple H needed me to put it out. So I put it out. He put the battery in my back because that was insane. What a crazy night that was. But so the BW 500 is officially released. This has felt like the best year for me personally because I put it out and I threw my phone like a Frisbee. I didn't look at anything. I didn't look at anything positive. I didn't look at anything negative. I didn't look at anything. I don't even know if people are praising it. I was like, I can't this year because it's just it was massive amount of stuff.
The energy be kind of weird, but Buddy, going to Atlanta and saying you don't see color is wild, bro.
Oh,
That is
I
wild.
didn't know what was happening after watching that sweet party on Bad Blood. I'm like, wait, he said it after that, Phil? He said it after that.
Yeah, again, we'll get into that. There was a lot to dissect from that and Bad Blood, but yeah, there was a that was a wild night, man.
That
That
was a
night was wild. The
wild
next
night.
day was wild, and I was just kind of like, nah. I'm watching the football game. Y'all leave me alone. Leave me up out of this. I saw certain people in my mentions trying to drag me into this conversation. I was like, nah, y'all not gonna get me like y'all do on Twitter. And then it turns into the usual where people don't want to actually have a conversation. They just want to find the one person that disagrees with something and try and go back and forth with them. Listen, buddy. I'm on to you, Twitter Spaces. I'm on to you, Twitter Space. You're not gonna catch me, no sir. Not
And they
2024, man.
they make it too obvious because like they're in your mentions and then they're also in my mentions. So it's like I'm not about to get in this with you because I just saw you trying to get into it with my homie. Like, what do you think this is?
Nah, buddy. Y'all keep that over there. I saw, some I saw some very nasty behavior that night, which I will not comment too much on because oof. But we did have a lot going on this week, at least a bit. We have more stuff from the Rap War of 2024 that I keep thinking we'll be able to move on and not have any updates from this, but no, it just keeps going and going and going. J. Cole dropped a record this week, and I really liked the record. I thought it was dope, and I was sitting listening to it like, nah, Cole is still Cole. He's still one of them guys. Great rapping, but he said some things on there that were a little bit egregious, a little bit of a head scratcher.
Yes. There's a couple of egregious points for sure. I ran it back in full right before the pod, and I was like in your same mindset of like, damn, this fool's rapping, but I laughed out loud at some point. So it's like, dog.
Yeah, so he continues to reaffirm the point here that he saw where this beef was going and he didn't want any parts about it.
Yep.
He looked at it as, oh, I thought this was just us, getting some raps off and us trying to prove who's the best. And that's kind of always been a part of the big three conversation and his part to play in it. But he also said some things here that kind of contradicted that, but also I love Cole, man. I think Cole is dope. I think he's a great artist. I think that he's earned his spot as one of the top guys in rap right now. But backing out of this beef, having a whole diss track out and deleting the diss track and then coming back and saying, hey guys, well, I would have won that though.
It's because,
I would have won that, but I just didn't want to lose a friend in the process. Now, I get his point, but that sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy though, Cole. It sounds so crazy. I'm with you, Cole, because like he was like into his thinking therapist bag. Like he looked at this from all angles. Like he's like, if I do this, this is gonna happen. Mudslinging, I don't want to get into it. But the issue is like Kendrick wasn't gonna get into mudslinging with you. I'm starting to think Cole has some crazy dirt, and he was like, I don't want people to be because like, what are you like? I don't think Kendrick was going to turn it to that with you. It was going to be just down to the raps and bars. The Drake thing's a totally separate thing.
I actually disagree. I think once Kendrick got into that mode, he was shooting at anybody who was standing next to that guy. Because he has made it clear, I don't like that guy. And anybody defending that guy and anybody who's rolling with him, you got to go too. So I don't think he would have held back on him at all. I think
that goes even to more to what I'm thinking. So Cole probably has some dirt then.
I don't know if it's necessarily that I believe that he has dirt, but I think I wholeheartedly believe that he really believed at one point, like, all right, man, let's put out a record and let's get to it. Like, because I've been saying, I'm one of the guys. All the rest of these rap dudes, I'm better than y'all. Yeah. But when he saw where this was really going, oh, we're getting into somebody's hiding a child. We're getting into, you're putting your hands on your girl and all this stuff. I don't want no part of that. Like, this is I don't want to get into personal stuff. I don't want to get into this ugly part of it because this thing definitely got very ugly. And I just don't think any of this was for Cole. And I mean, even if you listen to this record, I'm like, nah, he doesn't fit in what they were doing at all because he wouldn't have done that.
That's what kind of frustrates me about this whole thing. Cause like, do you know what battle is these days, Cole? Have you watched battle rap? Like the hardest battle raps, they get into dirt. Like they go and get the FB, they go and get like dirt on people. It's not just about bars anymore. That's where I gotta be like, well, why did you try to get involved at any point? It was never gonna just be about bars. With these two specifically, even, you know?
Well, I think that it could have, but I think with Drake and Kendrick in particular, it had gotten way past
It was
that point.
past that.
It had gotten too personal, and I think he realized that. I think he was looking around like, "Oh no, this is in a place that I don't want to be. I don't belong in this conversation. This is between the two of them." And man, it is some weird stuff like him going out of his way to say, "Nah, Drake is my man," and all of this. And I'm like, okay, that
It
also
looks
looks
crazy.
crazy
Mhm.
when you have Kendrick saying, did Cole foul? I don't know why
Yeah.
he's still pretending.
Mhm.
And Drake kind of low key threw some shots at Cole and on one of them records. Like
Yeah. What
so
happened?
it almost felt like he was trying to reassure Drake, like, no, 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 you're still my
We
man. I
cool.
don't
We
feel
good.
a way about you, and still trying to. It was the same thing when he went on that Dreamville stage and said, "Y'all don't think Cole is one of the top three? Y'all give it up for Kendrick." It's like, yeah, but hold on, dog. Like, wait a
Mhm.
minute. Again, I understand the spirit of what he's trying to say here. I just think the messaging is very mixed. I do fully agree with a lot of things he's saying and his reasons for backing out. It just
It looks wild.
looks wild. You can't call somebody to square. And then when you get in the square, you look around with your fists up, like, all right, I'm ready to do this. And then you see like how bloody this fight's getting. All right, dog, y'all got it. And then jump out of the square. You can't do that, man. Like it just looks away no matter what your reasons are. And I do understand, like I said, him saying, because I do feel like this was gonna get into a place where it's like you cannot be in the beef between these two without picking a side.
Yeah.
I think that became very clear. But man, coming back after the fact, after the dust is cleared, and he's like, "Well, wait a minute, guys. Here's my part. And all these guys battled, and I've got blood left on me, and I didn't want to be in this. And look, I wasn't in it. And I don't know, dog. It kind of felt like the No Face record he made. Remember
Mhm.
where he was explaining himself too much on there. And it was the same thing here, where he's trying to explain himself, and I was like, I feel you, but
Over
there's a certain
explained.
amount of people that don't want to hear that.
No. There was a point like I would have took a lot of this record if he would have took out, but if I was in there, I would have killed somebody. I would have been fine with it. And maybe because if I'm Kendrick and I listen to that record and then at the end you're like, but Drake, we chill, we good, we blah. I'm like, what? You're
But
what are
that's what
you
I'm trying to
saying, dog?
But that's what I was trying to tell you earlier. He's not trying to hear that. The whole point of him at the first point coming out and saying, "Nah, fuck this big three talk," is, "Oh, y'all over there teeing and having a song
Mhm.
together? Get this up out of here! All of this kumbaya, get that up out of here!" Like
And
I ain't trying to hear that.
Cole still teeing like, nah, we chill. I'm gonna see you on Sunday. I'll see you at the game. Like, nah, dog.
Cole,
I'm not
Cole,
gonna see you at the game.
Cole's still trying to be a mediator in this, and
Mhm.
there is no mediation to be done. These two
Nah.
do not like each other. That's not going to change.
Why is he still mediating? I don't get it, dog. He's still I keep seeing the memes of him with his hands to the side like that. I'm like, dog, what is Cole doing? This is definitely like when you're with your two homies and the three of y'all are bagging and then they start getting serious and you're like, wait, they're not joking anymore. Like they're into some real stuff. They start talking about each other's babies, mamas, and you're like, wait, all right, I'm you know what?
No,
I'm gonna see y'all later.
no, and again, I get where he's coming from.
I get it.
I could totally see Absol or whoever reached out to Cole because I do think a conversation was
Oh, the
had.
schoolboy convo that they said happened at Dreamfield Fest.
I do think a conversation was had. I think somebody talked to him and said, "Hey, dog, this is not what you want. This is where this is gonna go." And he was like, "Say no more. I'm about that."
Schoolboy said, "Look, this little nigga Kendrick is not playing Cole. Like these ain't games. Like you out there trying to have fun, think it's gonna be bars. This guy is coming for heads."
Now, there's also a bunch of people that I've seen say, how can you say that, all right, you guys wanted blood and that's why I stepped out? or this turned into something that people were just doing for clicks and money and stuff, and I had no real interest in that because there's real people behind this. But also try to downplay the role you played in all of this big three stuff
Mm-hmm.
and the back and forth. Um, I think that's a fair criticism of him, but I also think it's fair to say that he was doing that having in mind, I'm just doing this for the sport. I'm just doing this
Mm-hmm.
trying to do some rapidy rap stuff. And then when he realized, no, this is not just rap with them, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that.
He does play a big role though, because like his line in the song, like, is kind of what I'm sure Kendrick heard. That was like, it's not. Dog. I mean, no, fuck the big three, niggas. The big me is inspired by something that Cole did. And again, if I'm Kendrick, you was over there having fun. Like, this was never fun, Cole. We're way past this. You're on a track with this guy. You're trying to shout me out on this. I don't want to be shouted out on this track. I don't want any parts of this. And
I
so
don't. Yeah.
he
I
could
don't
have
want to.
came at a way different way. Cole could have started this and been like, you know what? I didn't know it was gonna be that, but he put out a diss record. He came with some stuff. He's on stage talking, so it's like you have to realize what your part is. But that the mall clip of him trying to make it like, oh, this is all Cole's fault. The Kendrick came shooting at him. He came shooting at Drake because of Cole standing. No, dog, Kendrick was going at Drake no matter what. Cole was just the catalyst to kind of set it off. But like, yeah, Cole plays a part, and this doesn't help. I like this record, but I don't know if it was necessarily needed at this time. Like, I like explaining
No.
yourself and having a on record therapy session. I'm with you, dog, but I don't know if
But
we needed that.
that's always been a big part of Cole's career.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his strengths as an artist. I
Totally.
just thought that he over explained himself a bit
That's
here.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I think that I
He went
think
over his hour session. Like, no, you still going, dog? Like, you did the hour already. We got to wrap
yeah.
this up.
Yeah, the revisionist history here of, oh, well, they jumped on this record and his line is what kicked all of this off is
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That's not what happened, because the other thing we
Oh.
heard here is that um Kendrick was supposed to be on that record.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask me, just based on the two people on the record and the history of these two people on the record, I don't think that Drake was the guy that invited him to be on that record. I
Yeah.
think that Cole wanted him on that record, and I did fell through. I think
Yep.
everything about it, I think the way they were talking on there, I think it irritated Kendrick, but I think it irritated Kendrick because he already did not like Drake. I don't think it was so much that Cole was saying things that really pushed him over the edge or was a
No.
catalyst. No, I just don't think he liked anything about this because he don't like that dude.
That's it. Easy as that. Like, I feel like people are like, he heard the song. I'm like, before the song came out, it was already up for him. Like, he was already aware of it because, like Phil is saying, I feel like Cole was like, hey, maybe let's do the song. We the big three. He probably already gave up the big three thing before the song had even came out. And Kendrick was like, absolutely not, brother. And then so the song comes out and Kendrick's like, I didn't want any parts of this big three shit. What are you saying? Like, why are you saying this?
Listen,
I
if
want to kill this guy.
listen, if we're friends and you go and do a podcast with somebody that you know that I don't like, and I'm gonna be sitting over there like, hey man, I fuck with you, but that guy, nah.
I'm cool.
Like y'all over there doing that, and it looked like y'all having fun doing it. Nah, I'm good. I'm cool on that.
It looked like y'all having fun doing it.
I'm cool on that, bro. I'm not. Nah, I'm good. So man, I get all sides to this. I just think that, man, Cole is just in a tough spot, and I don't
It's
think
the
that
toughest spot.
I don't think that he's helped himself on multiple occasions with this. Now, I also think there's the devil advocacy here of saying, what did you want him to say after the fact? If other people are saying, oh, well, you couldn't hang with those dudes. Of course, he's gonna be
Yeah.
like, man, well, I can rap with those dudes. I would,
Mhm.
if this was just a rap battle, then I could have won that.
Mhm.
Of course, he's a rapper. I know that's the expectation for him, but
Mhm.
it just looks away when you include it with other things you're saying. It looks like you're kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth.
And people are turned off already from him when he backed out. Like, I've seen multiple people say he can't talk like he used to talk. He can't talk that I'm the best rapper stuff, and he's still talking that. And so there's going to be a bunch of people that are never going to accept that from moving forward. So like, I know you could rap, Cole, like no matter what. Like, nobody will ever convince me that you can't rap, but there's going to be a bunch of fans that think now that talk is null and void.
Yeah, regardless of what happened, once you deleted your diss track, you lost.
That's it. It's
That's just
over,
what it
dog. I'm
is.
sorry.
Once you deleted your diss track, you lost. It looks like Kendrick scared you off, and then he completely annihilated your boy. It looked like he single-handedly did a 2v1, and he won this thing because
Tough
you
one.
forfeit, and then he proceeded to dog walk your guy.
You forfeited, dog. You forfeited in a battle. That doesn't like people. You can. It doesn't matter what you say. Anything at this point to some people, like you forfeited, dog. Why are you still even talking about this?
Yeah, you can't come back and say I would have won because you had the chance to
I
kill.
would have won.
You had the chance to actually rap with this guy, and regardless if I agree with your reasons for stepping out, you stepped out.
You stepped out. I don't care why you stepped out, dog. You stepped. Nah, you know what? I left something in the oven. No, I don't care. I don't care about the reasons, dog. You left.
Yeah.
Just let me explain. Let me explain. No, I don't need you to explain.
Nobody want. I won't say nobody. There's a good big part of the crowd that has been into this battle that doesn't want your explanation.
We good, dog.
And I like the record. I'm
It's
looking
dope
forward.
raps on there.
I'm looking forward to the album. This sounds a lot like what he usually does in album mode, where he'll drop a Lucy like this in the build up to putting the album out. So I'm still excited for the album, but he did not help himself with a lot of people here.
It was like I said, I laughed out loud at some points because I was like, Cole, why are you, you can't say that? You backed out.
But yeah, he had some great lines on there. There was some stuff I really liked, but yeah.
Like my friends went to war and there's blood on my hands. Like, yeah, that's hard. Like you was out there, but like there should have been more than you was out there.
Yeah. And I think the other messed up part about it is I wish artists would go to outlets, and I wish there were more outlets where the artist trusted somebody and they could go and do the interview so we can get the in-depth stuff. I don't remember which account it was.
An interview.
Yeah, I don't remember which account it was, but I saw someone say that if we don't get a lot of those Pac interviews during all of that stuff with Death Row, we miss a huge part of the story because we got him to orate his own story, and we're not getting that from any of these guys. We're not getting the big Kendrick interview. We're not getting this big Drake interview. It doesn't seem like we're getting this Cole one either. So I feel like that's kind of the problem with the space right now is that,
I didn't think about that.
Rappers are not going to outlets like they used to do.
Yeah, they have like Angie Martinez always talks about the Pac interview that she had and how pivotal that was.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many lost media outlets that played a role, some good and some bad back in the day, but like them being able to tell the little bit of the story so we could get some of the back, essentially what Cole did on this record, but like in interview form. Like if he would have sat down with Elliot and was like, bam, I feel like this would have hit a lot harder,
Yeah, I'm sure Elliot would love to hear that because I'm sure he wanted that interview.
I see Elliot when something happens, he starts going back and finding all his stuff connected to Cole. He's so funny. He's the funniest. But like I'm saying, he would deserve it. A Rob Markman, like somebody like that's in the culture that could sit down and really get in depth into this.
Yeah, and I get it as well that there are outlets that have been very exploitative to the artist, and that has broken the trust of the artist. But I do think that that's a big problem, especially in this current era where print media is dying off. You don't have, what Elliot used to do for a magazine like Double XL. You don't have some of those spaces to go in. Video interviews are kind of king right now, and I don't know that there's that outlet right now that is standing above everyone else that these people could go to.
They're going to the streamers now, and like Cole's not going to go and sit with a streamer.
Bro, and man, listen, no hate on Kai Cenat and what he does, no hate on the streamers, like that's great, but they're not going to ask the questions. They're not gonna do the interviews that somebody like Angie would do. They're not gonna do what Sway would do. Like we need somebody of that caliber to have that kind of platform and do it.
And Sway still has it. Sway's doing it on a daily basis, but like his interviews aren't reaching for dirt and they aren't trying to trash. They're like paying tribute, so people it doesn't get any traction. And
it's some of the radio is kind of fallen off as well. So
Yeah.
he's got the shortcomings of being a host on a radio show. So not
Mhm.
everybody's going to run to radio to do that interview as well. So
Right.
I don't know, man. The landscape of media is changing, and I definitely think a lot of the journalists that can cover this in a respectful way need to adapt so that there's an outlet for artists to go to.
You're right. Exactly. Like they should have that. Like Elliot might think about becoming a streamer, like in some sort, or like switching to more podcasts, or like he has to figure out a way to make the artist want to come to him because these voices are needed and it needs to happen in a different way. It's so funny that everything you said relates to wrestling media too, because people like the bad stuff has started to outweigh the good for some people, and the people that are still doing good can get lost in the shuffle because people are just like, everybody that does this is horrible. It's just like it's a crazy space to exist in on both sides.
Absolutely works with wrestling media as well, because there has been exploitative outlets that have broken the trust of the wrestlers and the companies. And so you see people that think all of you are these dirt sheet guys, and not everybody wants to make that kind of content. Everybody doesn't want to make like the tabloid content. Everybody gets lumped into this circle of, oh, well, I know what you guys want to do with a clip. I know what you guys want to make. You guys want to make the clickbait stuff. And it does make it hard for some outlets to get the interviews that could just be about telling this person's story or disseminating information.
Yeah, totally. You know what's another interesting aspect of this whole battle and the relating to the Cole thing? The last couple records that everybody involved in this has released has been on like Instagram or like through their social media and not an official release. I don't know what that means. Does that mean because this is needed? Like if you guys got together and were like, forget all these streaming services, forget us getting robbed, we're going to start our own thing, we're just going to start releasing through ourselves, the whole game can change. I really don't understand what's going on here, but I'm interested in see what's going on forward.
The wild part about this is look at the guy out of the three of them that started that wave, and look how he was talked about when he did it. When Drake started doing it, people are like, oh, why are you just putting music out over here? Why are you trolling? Why are you doing this? And it's like, yeah, he might be making a point about, hey, this is music just for the moment. I'm not trying to do this for clicks and monetize it. And I feel like that's kind of what Kendrick was trying to say with the last record he put out. Like, nah, this is just me trying to put out a message more than putting out something I think is going to make money
content, blah, blah,
this
blah.
This is just a record I'm trying to make in the moment to put out for you guys. And I think Cole was trying to do the same thing here, where, hey, this is just something for fans. I had something I wanted to get off my chest. It's not necessarily something I wanted to monetize. And he even makes that point in the record. So I think that's part of the Instagram wave. I could be misreading it though.
No, that's a thing of like, it's not for them, it's for y'all. Like I'm speaking to y'all. I'm not speaking as J. Cole, the multi Grammy nominated blah 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 artist. I'm speaking as Cole, the rapper that wants to get this off of his chest. And I think that's also an interesting thing going forward of like, everything doesn't have to be content, everything doesn't have to be monetized. And if the biggest guys are saying that, then it could be a trickle down effect, and like some a shift could happen possibly.
Yeah. What a year for hip hop though.
I love it.
The fact that we're still having debates about this Super Bowl show is still funny to me. I mean,
that video you posted yesterday,
yo,
masterpiece.
Cam gotta get out of here, dog. Not Cam Hawkins.
No, shout out to Cam.
Cam Newton. I feel you, but when he said Master P, I said, okay,
dog.
Let's relax.
It's 2024. I'm with you, and he is legendary in New Orleans. But we're talking about the NFL Super Bowl that like $1 million tickets are available. Like they're not gonna know about it, and the Ice Cream Man, Phil.
Bruh, if I was sitting at home watching the Super Bowl or wherever I am at a Super Bowl party, and that gold tank started rolling out there, and we start hearing the dun dun. I would be super confused. I mean, listen, I know some people would be loving it.
I'd go up for sure.
I would be super confused. Like, yo, what year is this? Like, what's going on?
That'd be crazy having like, I think Mystical's in jail. I don't even think he could be out there and like see murder. Like this is
some Mystical got a weird case.
I'm like, dog, you sure you want to have Master P and his crew out there? Like,
yeah, I mean the novelty of it. The novelty of it would be cool, but then once we got into the actual execution of it, I don't know if
This
that's the
is
right
what
page for that.
exactly, like these people that be talking don't really break it down. They're just like, why is it? It's like, yeah, there's a reason that they're still legend. It doesn't take away from that, but like, there's a certain reason that Kendrick's gonna be up there. There's a
Yeah.
certain reason that they have Dre and Snoop up there. There's a certain reason that they have Eminem. You know what I mean? Like, they represent different, wider scope. People that go diamond when they put out records. You know.
Yeah. Speaking of Silk the Shocker, we didn't get a chance to talk about it. He dropped that freestyle that day, and I died laughing. I was like, "Yo." I was like,
Dog
man,
still cannot catch the beat, Phil.
trying to catch the beat.
So long. It's been so long. And
Trying to catch the
still
beat.
raps exactly the same. His ad libs can't catch up. It's like, dog, what's going on here? Silk.
Bruh, when that dropped that day, I was dying laughing because I immediately thought, okay, this would have been like a 20-minute segment in our first year of us just talking about this video. Because what is this?
And it's like he's in it. We know Silk the Shocker. He's a part of this legendary rap crew and clique, and he's just like a SoundCloud rapper video, and like something like, dog, what are you doing? Like, you're Silk the Shocker. Master P's your brother.
That was listen, some production went into this video, but like the beat change and everything he did around it, it very much felt like that kind of vibe of the SoundCloud rapper putting out the promo video.
I'm just thinking, this is Silk the Shocker, dog. What's going on here? I'm like, if Silk is doing this, there's no hope with dope around here.
Yeah, wow.
Ooh, I had a hearty laugh just like this when that video came out. Silk the Shocker is hilarious, man. Yeah, hip hop is great this year. I love the way that it's turning out. I'm scared for the future. Did you see these yesterday? Elon released a bunch of robots and cars and all. Like, Phil, where do you stand on human-sized robots as like butlers and like bartenders?
I don't want no part.
You in there or are you out of there?
Now, first of all, that stuff is not marketed at us because I can't afford that, and I know you probably can't afford it. So that's not marketed to us. But even if I can afford this, I don't want no robot in my house. I don't want no robot walking my dog, or they said it could babysit your kid. I don't know.
What?
I'm not leaving my kid alone with this robot.
No. All right, see you later. Have fun, baby. Have fun with this robot. Like, no, right. You think I'm gonna fall asleep and there's a robot in the other room?
No, I'm not leaving my hypothetical kid with this robot. No. No, and I'm not getting in no driverless car, cyber cab, and what the robot van, bro. Give me a real driver, dog.
I have been in a driverless car. I guess I'm one of the terrible people in the world. But the rest of it, the robot sounds insane. Just like nobody's seen our robot. Like it's like you guys want these things to be real. Like what? Like, oh, it's a robot, dog. Like anything could happen. I feel like, oh, we could just change the CPU. That means somebody else could change it too to do something terrible. I just can't. I'm not in.
Everybody that were making their iRobot comparisons, that was very funny. Of course, at the end of iRobot, all the robots started, turning on humans, and the red light came on. So somebody said in 2028, when Elon picks all of those people that voted Democrat and their robot starts turning red.
It's not funny because it could happen.
It ain't far off
that too, dog. My robot attacked me. Dog, I'm saying, dog. You're gonna leave your baby with a fucking robot, you guys. We gotta think about this.
I'm Gucci.
Like, I love techno. I love my iPhone, dog. Like, I've done some amazing things, but there has to be a line, I think.
Nah, man.
There's got to be a line. They didn't watch Smart House. I don't watch nothing. Total Recall. Nothing.
Bro, Smart House. That's a classic too.
Hey, Smart House is a classic.
But
and all houses are essentially that at this point. Like with this flooding. Shout out to everybody that was affected by the hurricane and in the way of Milton, one of the worst named hurricanes of all time. But like the people with like the smart houses and buttons and like all of that stuff is like immediately. I saw some people that couldn't get into their house because they have like the smart door with the numbers, and it's like it's crazy. Like the technology, when it's good, but when it's bad, it's like bad.
Ayo, I'm tired of using technology. I need you
sit
right in
down on
front of
top
me.
of me.
That's a nasty record.
Dog, a nasty ass. That's a 50 Cent song too. That's the craziest part.
Nah, that song is.
He was chasing the sound. Like I fucks with you, Phil.
He was definitely chasing the sound, but that hook and everything about it, nah, dog, that wasn't it.
Like you got a record from somebody's like, oh, let's do it. Nah, you should have
worked
gave
the
that one
pole, I worked
away.
the pole, nah, dog, that wasn't it.
Hey, it's called Ayo Technology. Hey, yo. Are you sure, Fifth? I think he was sure. Terrible.
If you're still with us after our music talk and robot talk, send us your super chat, your humper chat. And we're gonna get into some wrestling. I promise we are.
Eventually, it's just gonna be Righteous Robot, and Phil Robot on here, and we're gonna just be out of a job. They're just gonna, because we're giving them data right now. That's what drives me crazy. Is like we're releasing this to the internet. Like that's just more data for them. So if they're like, we need all the Righteous Reg data, they got 150 plus episodes of me talking on Grapsody.
Yeah, it's just gonna be insert reference clip here about rap music, insert whatever.
I'm laughing because I'm hurt, because that's true, man.
Insert impersonation clip of whoever. Yes, I mean, that's why all of this AI stuff, I'd be like, oh, this is
people are excited about it. I'm like, dog, I don't think we could be excited about this, man. Like me as a creative, as an artist, like I'm done. Like why would they pay me when they could just type in I need this, and it comes instantly?
Yeah. But yeah, send us your super chats, send us your humper chats where we get a bit more of a cut of the pie, and we're gonna try and get into some wrestling talk.
Yes, sir. Let's get into a few of these super and humper chats, and we'll sure, that'll transition us. David Reed said Christian is cashing in tonight. Book it.
I don't think he's going to cash in tonight. But we'll get into some WrestleDream talk soon.
With how the story's been told, and Brian and Mox, I don't really feel like Christian will make sense. But I've seen wilder things.
Nah, I don't think it works tonight.
That'd be the worst use of Money in the Bank / cash in probably ever. But
it would really make the entire build to this match make no sense. It would make it all feel pretty pointless.
Exactly. Grapple Geekery says, I'm on the road to my best friend's place for WrestleDream pay-per-view. I'm here for Paige versus White, the triple threat, and the women's matches. Your picks.
Yeah, really excited for this. I don't know. Yeah, let's just get into it, because we're getting into it. We're getting a lot of questions about it out the gate. So AEW WrestleDream will be coming to you live tonight from the Tacoma Dome. Pretty good card coming up. I don't know. At one point, it seemed like you were going, right?
Yeah, I was primed to pull up, and I looked at tickets and all this stuff. And then some other things happened, and I planned some other trips to some other places. So I'm like, I'm just going to stay at home, and I'm going live with Denise. We're going to do the watch along. So it'll be fun. If you're down to listen to me for a bunch more hours today, definitely pull up to the Denise in our stream. I'm going to be talking all day, Phil.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling content, but yeah, pretty strong card. We got a 12-match card.
That's a lot of matches.
Yeah, 12-match card. Starting with Atlantis Jr. taking on Brian Cage for the ROH World Television title. That was one that was added around the last minute. We're still doing this weird thing where they do certain ROH championship matches on AEW pay-per-views, but not others. I still think it's strange that they do that. I don't know why they won't put Athena on these shows if that's the case, but
I don't. Yeah. Like if that's what we're doing, I'm with you, but like do it then. Where's Athena? It's crazy. That should be some good spot food though. Brian Cage is Brian Cage, and still does some things I've never seen in my life. And Atlantis Jr. is amazing, a luchador. So that should be really fun. That's how you kick off a pay-per-view.
That should be a fun one. Another last minute one we got added. The Mansoor and Mason Madden will be taking on the Acclaimed, the tag team match, also on the 0 hour. We got a lot of the build for this, either on Collision. We got some more of it on Rampage last night. That jacket that Max came out wearing was wild. But yeah, I think this should be a fun one. When you consider like what the claim has been for AEW and what MX Collection has been coming in, this fits. It fits like they're the perfect opponents for them coming in the gate.
Yeah, it felt like this was a dream match for a lot of Mason Mansoor fans coming in immediately for AEW. So cool. I just when I did the Hood Slam show, Mason Mansoor were on the show, so I got to call one of their matches. So I know how amazing and exciting they could be. I feel like the build has been a little bit wonky. They did a segment that people did not like at all. And so I hope that didn't turn them off, because when the bell rings, they're going to go for it. It's going to be a great tag match. I hope that that didn't turn people off.
No, I mean, this is kind of a perfect spot for them. I think it'll be fine. Another one that they've kind of built up off the backs of another feud. Anna Jay will be taking on Harley Cameron. I think this is a good spot for Anna Jay, coming back from the Stardom run and getting a spot on this pay-per-view. You're going to give her a match with somebody that, no knock to Harley. I think, this is set up to really showcase her and give her a win.
Totally. This is an Anna Jay match, but the Harley, we've seen a couple of matches with Harley where she could really work, and she's done some things where I've been surprised. I think this one, if they give them a little bit of time, they give Harley a little bit of time to get into her heel bag, I think this could be a really fun one. But Anna Jay, they need to get more wins on Anna Jay. They need to get more eyes on Anna Jay, more stories for Anna Jay. This is definitely for Anna Jay.
Yeah. Harley has very much improved in ring. All of her character work, her backstage segments have been very entertaining. The one last night from Rampage where she's explaining why Saraya's not there, and she goes, well, she's incapacitated. And Renee goes, well, how are you? Capacitated. And she goes, what? Never mind that.
Yeah, as a character, she's one of the best. The way that she delivers her jokes and bits are top notch.
Yeah, so I think that's a good matchup for 0 hour. I don't know the order that this is going in, but we've got Mark Briscoe taking on Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship.
Yes, sir.
Please don't put this belt on Jericho. My immediate reaction to the start of this feud, everything leading up to it, please don't put this belt on Jericho.
I was like, of all the championships Jericho could be involved with, why did they pick this? And it didn't really. I was just kind of confused into the whole thing. If Chris Jericho wins this ROH championship, I'm gonna cry. Like, I don't like Mark Briscoe. The way that he got the belt, everything, great story. Like, losing it to Jericho would be an unfortunate way to end it. That's it.
No, I just wish that they would focus on making Ring of Honor its own thing. If you're gonna make it into a feeder for AEW's main roster, then just do that. Put guys down there that are only going to be on that show. Make it the show for the younger wrestlers. I don't want to see continued things like this with Jericho. Just don't do this.
If there's been talk of this other TV show that AEW is going to get, Shockwave potentially. If they're going to have to delegate shows and tapings and stuff, maybe they could put a renewed focus on Ring of Honor when this gets kicked off, or however they figured it out. But yeah, something still needs to happen, because Ring of Honor is still a thing. It can be a viable thing for a lot of people. People still want to go to Ring of Honor and still want to support it. They just got to give them a reason to.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully this is a good one. I just hope that the outcome is not what I think it's going to be. We're all rooting on you, Mark. Don't let this happen. We got Darby Allin taking on Brody King. I thought that this was a great way to continue the storytelling coming out of Darby unsuccessfully using both of his title matches coming into this quarter, which I still think is a very odd decision. But
yeah,
I think doing the open challenge and going back to the Brody King stuff is a good call because he had a noteworthy feud with Brody King at one point, and I thought that the segment they had the other night on Dynamite was great.
Yeah, me too. At first, I was like really into Darby Allin's kind of backstage pre-tape promos kind of thing. I was like, these two doing a promo against each other. I don't really know if that's the angle that I would have took, but I really like how it turned out. Darby pulled out the Rock, busted Brody open, kind of added a little bit more substance to the feud. This is a Darby Allin match there in Washington. Darby needed to be showcased in this. I think this is the best way. They've been building this feud at Comic-Con, at Brody's shows, anywhere that they're in a building together. Brody will show up and choke out Darby, or Darby will do a coffin drop from the top of some crazy thing. So this is a fun kind of, if you know type of match. And also, these two guys have had some insane matches, and the things that Brody does to Darby are disgusting sometimes. So this should be an awesome match. But Darby Allin's definitely winning this in Washington.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for Darby. Darby does very well against bigger opponents. You give him somebody that can throw him around and, put him in peril, and he usually excels in that kind of matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think he's going to win. Like you said, I think this is really set up to give him a big win in his hometown. Yeah. But I hope that they have something planned after this, because I do like the story that they're telling with Mox, of Mox looking around like, you guys are okay with this? You're comfortable where you are in this company? Like, you've been here for 5 years and you're comfortable with still doing this? And although I don't like him losing both of his title shots, I do like the aspect of it of Mox saying, listen, you're not ready. Give me the title shot. You're not going to use it. Everybody is still looking at this guy with rose-colored glasses and enamored with Brian. You're not going to do what needs to be done. Give me the title shot. I'll do it.
Yeah, this does kind of, Mox's speech does relate to Darby a lot, because, like, honestly, you should have more Darby. You should have been world champion by now. You should be in a higher spot, and you should want better for yourself. So, like, hopefully he does use that moving forward, because we should see Darby with the championship, and we should see him involved in bigger stories.
Yeah, and I didn't really pick up on a lot of the story stuff that they were doing with Mox, but I think that over the last 2 weeks, they've done a better job of explaining what his motives are. And when you pick up on his motives and tie that back to the stuff he was saying to Darby from the very beginning, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
We got Jack Perry taking on Katsuyori Shibata for the AEW TNT Championship. It's another one where I think Jack Perry's definitely going to pick up the win here. I think he's had a good run as TNT title, but he does need that one solid rival to really push this thing forward. And I think it could be Daniel Garcia.
I was going to say, I think we got him this week with the Daniel Garcia promo, and him saying that he's re-signed with AEW and is going to be here moving forward. If any championship is ready to have Daniel Garcia in contention, it's that TNT championship. Jack Perry, we probably have to get into a long form podcast about the run of Jack Perry and where he exists at right now, Phil. And it's a tough one, but yeah, I think Daniel Garcia is pretty destined for that TNT championship. If they build a good division with those two guys, Darby, I think, could get back into that division if they're not trying to get him into the heavyweight championship division. Guys like Kyle Fletcher, I think they built that division. It could be one of the best divisions in AEW. Daniel Garcia at the head of it would be really fire. So I think Jack Perry's probably going to go over tonight. Daniel Garcia maybe he'll have something be involved with it, because he did talk to Shibata after his promo, and Shibata was like, if I win, you get a championship match. So maybe he'll be out there.
Yeah, the Jack stuff is interesting, because I do think that when he initially came back, there was a lot of potential there. And I don't think that they've capitalized on it like they should have. I don't think that they have done everything that they could have done to make this run really be the thing that set him apart from the rest of the roster. I do think that he's had good moments, but I think on the whole, since he's come back, I don't think that they have properly capitalized on it.
What do you think it is? Because I feel like they're doing the scapegoat thing. He has the big truck, he has the gear. They give him like promo time, but there's some kind of disconnect with the crowd. What do you think? Is it the matches? Because Jack Perry can work. I don't think it's that.
No, I think the matches are good. I think his promos have been good. I think that there was too much relying on old stuff that they could have just moved on from.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
People
there
got
had
turned off.
there hasn't been enough to establish him as a character on his own outside of a bit that was created by something that is old news at this point.
Like
Like,
even even the scapegoat thing is off of something that's old. I get you. I feel you. Mhm.
yeah, that's part of why the scapegoat thing never really worked for me to begin with is
Mhm.
that it just it doesn't have legs to last. I
Right.
think you've gotta really build his character into something that could stand alone and you don't have to rely so much on that aspect of it.
Mhm. Yep.
And I could be wrong, but listen, I like Jack Perry, and I'm not saying that as part of the bit.
Yeah, it's not a bit.
I do legitimately like Jack Perry, and I do think that he's vastly improved since he's been back. I
Totally.
just don't think that the company has done enough to capitalize on him, and I don't think that they've done enough to make him a fully formed character since he's been back.
Mhm. It's like I want to believe. I feel like I love everything that he's saying, but there's something missing. I think it's the scapegoat thing. I don't think people will ever really be able to fully get behind it from this point, you know?
Yeah,
Just because of what it represents. It's like, well, that's not really. And then like even like you're like a Hollywood star's kid and all of that, like a you know what I mean? Like it doesn't really like it doesn't feel like that's the real you, I guess. Like you're playing a character, and like I don't really know if I like that character.
yeah, I think the big change that happened is they were doing something that was interesting. And then when Hangman came back and was like showing people like what real character work looked like, it
Yes.
made them all look like you guys are a step behind him because he immediately became the most compelling heel that was in the company. And those guys looked like they were just, playing at being heels, and he was really doing some real cool stuff.
There you go. Philip Lindsey hit the nail right on the head. They even kind of look alike. When Hangman came back and they were like, this is how you do it. This is how it's done. This is how when a heel talks and they do what they say they're going to do, like that's the shit we want to. So when Hangman came back and did it at such a higher level, you see not just Jack Perry, but any of the heels, you're like, you guys got some work to do just because Hangman's doing such a high level of heel work, which is kudos to Hangman more than, a knock against the wrestlers.
Yes. And I
You're
think
right.
also part of the what made Hangman work is that he's in a great storyline. He was in a great feud that, made him progress as a character and it made him better. Jack
Right.
hasn't had that rivalry since he came back
Mhm.
that's really pushed him and challenged him as a character. And I think he needs that.
That is a great point. We don't really think about like rivalries and something that people can attach you to. Like they tried to attach Jack Perry to the elite, but that really wasn't like we don't want to see you with the elite, especially when you're doing this character that's kind of the opposite of what they're doing. It doesn't make sense that like Okada and the Bucks are in suits and nice cars, and then
Yeah.
you pull up in the big scapegoat truck. Like you don't even like really fit into that group.
Yeah. And I mean, even when you look at his last two pay-per-view matches, the outcomes have seemed pretty predictable. I mean, you knew he was going to lose the Bryan match. In this one,
Mhm.
he's going to beat Shibata. Shibata's
Right.
not going to beat him. And that's kind of the issue here. It's the same what I'm saying with he doesn't have rivalries that really are bringing the best out of him going into these pay-per-views. It just feels like here's a way to get Jack on a card. I don't want to it's not the where the story stuff, but I do think
Mhm.
he needs actual feuds. I think he
Right.
needs things that are going to make him stand out, and it's not just a pay-per-view match for the sake of getting him on a card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like I thought that Darby could potentially be that for a little bit, but then like that casket match or the coffin match didn't really. It felt like they were like, "This is done. Let's move on," and like there maybe
Yeah.
was a little bit more legs to that.
Yep. Uh, we got what I think is probably going to be match of the night is Will Ospreay taking on Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. Really excited for this. I think the storytelling they've done with this, not just going back to the Ricochet and Will feud and playing off that, giving us that match very early on TV, but then adding Takeshita to it and adding another layer with the Don Callis family stuff. I thought the Don Callis segment this week was very good.
Mm-hmm. I laughed because you even saying the match sounds unbelievable to me. Like Osprey, Takeshita, and Ricochet in a triple threat match. Like there's some matches you thought were never gonna happen. Like honestly, for a while, it's like Ricochet's probably gonna stay in WWE forever at this point. Like, why would you just kind of like a cushy spot? And so I never thought that we would be able to see something like this. Takeshita's on fire. Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. Like Ricochet's trying to prove something. Like this has the potential to be one of the best triple threat matches ever with the energy that's behind it. And yeah, I'm liking that the Don Callis stuff finally with Ospreay being like, I'm out, we're done here. Like, I don't know how I was moving before. I don't know how we got here, but I'm moving forward. Kyle Fletcher is going to play a role. I hope that doesn't muddy up the match too much. Like, I hope, because like sometimes a Don Callis interference can be like, oh, we don't need that right now. So I hope it doesn't muddy up too much of the match, but the match is going to be so fire, we probably won't even care.
Yeah, I think you got to give Takeshita the win here. Coming off of the G1 run, I think this is his moment. He's been great. You've done a great job of protecting his mystique since he's been back. I think you got to give him the win here. I think the Ospreay stuff with Don was very good. That line of him saying, listen, I threw the real best wrestler in the world in the trash for you, and this is what you're going to do. I was like, oh, no.
That's pretty hard.
Listen, man, I was against a lot of this Don stuff for a long time, but watching that, I was like, listen, maybe I didn't know your game, bro. Listen,
I was like, hold on. Don Callis might be spitting, though. Y'all hearing this?
I thought that was a great line. I thought that segment in general was great. Even the stuff with Fletcher towards the end of it, where Fletcher jumped in the middle and was like, listen, I don't want you guys to fight, but I'm not putting hands on Will either. That's my guy.
Mm-hmm. And Don handing him. So I feel like they could go two ways with this. Like Fletcher could potentially turn on Ospreay, and that's how Takeshita wins tonight. Or they could have Fletcher continues to play this. I don't want to get involved. I wouldn't turn the back on my friend type deal. So there's some good angles to go with that. But tonight, Takeshita needs this win.
Yes.
He's been built up for a couple years, it feels like at this point. But them making the effort to put him in the G1, getting him that great run, priming the fans to see a big win, I think tonight is the time for Takeshita.
Yeah, I agree. I also liked from that segment where it started with Ospreay saying, did you send him out here to beat me up? Did you send him out here to interfere? And eventually he's just like, yes, I did. And he tries to justify it like, yo, well, I feel like I had to because you were getting out of pocket.
You're not listening.
Yeah, I thought that this was a great way to build to this feud and separate Ospreay from Don Callis once and for all. And what did you think of the trade that Don did this week, where he picked up the Murder Hawk, and we now have a new manager for LFI?
I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I feel like it's a good thing for everybody involved. Like, I feel like Lance Archer is one of those people that AEW fans want to get behind. They love him. They love when he's involved in stuff, but they just don't put him in too many positions for some reason. And so him being with Don Callis, I think is great for him. And then Don has kind of continues to cook how he's been recently. That could be a good thing. They have the New Japan connection. Like, it feels right. Seeing Jake Roberts doing the LFI pose at the top of the ramp this week, I was like,
hella funny.
So funny. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I think there are positives to it, but it was a bit of a weird. It was a weird.
Jake just standing up there.
Everything about it was weird. The whole trade, him standing at the top. But I do think that Lance needed something different.
Lance needs this.
Adding him to Don Callis' family, I think that's a good move for him because he needed something. And I think this adds something to LFI having a mouthpiece. It did look very funny when we got the Rampage segment last night, and he was standing next to the three of them, and he was taller than most of them. Because of course, Jake was a wrestler, pretty big guy. Mm-hmm. And it just looked funny that he is towering over these guys and he's speaking for them.
The three of those guys are awesome. So I guess if this is going to get them more TV time and Jake can get into his bag, like, it could totally work out. I was just like, I know Roosh doesn't speak perfect English, but he might be able to get them through with just how he be doing his thing. So I was like kind of confused as to why they were doing this. But if it's gonna mean, more promo time, more anything for them, then I'm all in.
Yeah, where's Preston Vance? Is he still injured?
Preston Vance. He has to be injured. I haven't seen him in a match in a minute.
He was
Where's
injured.
he gonna fit into this?
He was injured at one point, but yeah, I'm wondering if he's still in LFI and where does he fit in here?
They might kind of need to send him over to Don Callis family too.
He's one of those guys that I think would do very well in Ring of Honor if Ring of Honor was just its own thing. I think he would be one of those guys that you can put down there and let him have some solid matches and build himself up.
They could build the television championship division over there with guys like him and it be on fire. They have a lot of those type of guys in the back in AEW that are just kind of kicking it that could fill those roles. And Preston Vance is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Got a big win in the Young Bucks. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson taking on Private Party for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. I think you got to pull the trigger here. This has been a very underwhelming Young Bucks title run.
Yeah.
I think you've got to pull the trigger here and give Private Party this win. I also think that it fits with the overarching story that they're doing with this pay-per-view. And you can make the case that the last 3 pay-per-views, the shows have had a theme. All In had like this very hopeful, bright spot to it. I saw a lot of people say that All Out was kind of like The Empire Strikes Back, where all the villains win. And so for this pay-per-view, I feel like it's important for all of these young guys that Mox challenged to get the win. If he challenges all of these guys and they get to the pay-per-view and still lose, why did we do any of that?
Yes. If it's going to feel weird if he told Private Party that they jumped him a bunch of times, he broke Isaiah Cassidy's hand, and telling them you need to do better. Why are you in this spot and all this? And for them to lose at the pay-per-view would look crazy, I think, specifically for a team like Private Party that, again, you've primed AEW fans to get behind them. We love homegrown people. They've been here since day one. Like, they represent something deep for this division. And for them to beat the Young Bucks, like, the story just makes so much sense. This is like, man, out of all the matches tonight, I feel like the most personally invested in this one just because of like the Young Bucks got Private Party into AEW. That match that they had earlier in AEW, my favorite sequence in AEW, like all of this, like Private Party represents so much. The fans want this. Like, I just want them to win so bad, Phil.
I think this is the one. I think you got to give them the big win. I think that with the way they've looked, not just since Mox challenged them, but man, Isaiah has been great.
Cooking on the mic, man.
His promos have been great. I love the segment this week where Stokely came in and tried to offer his hand as their manager, and he's like, bro, when you consider their history with the company and how every time it looked like they were going to make a step forward, somebody would come in and go, hey, I can help you with that. Look how long they were linked to Matt Hardy, and they got traded back and forth in that whole thing. And then they got put in another faction, and none of this has really done anything for them. They ended up being stagnant. So I love that Zay's like, no, we don't need anybody. I've been holding it down, talking for us. We got this. And that's even more reason why I think they've got to win here. I don't think that you can do all of that stuff and set up this segment, and then they go into this telling people like, we're standing on our own too. We listen to everything Mox said, and we're trying to step up here, and then go into the pay-per-view and lose.
Yeah. And over this last 5 years, like, while I've been amazed, I've loved them, we've seen Private Party lose so many big moments that you gotta reward these fans wanting to support them after all these years, man. It just makes the most sense for them to win. Be very, very sad if they don't.
It doesn't just feel like, all right, they're day one guys, so no matter what, we want to support them. They're coming in, we want them to win. They have absolutely improved as characters. Like I said, Zay has improved as a talker. It just feels like it's their time.
Yeah. Tonight, Private Party, new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I really hope so.
Really hope that that's where we're going with this. Long overdue. We got Mariah May taking on Willow Nightingale as well. We got some very weird happenings this week because it was supposed to be Willow Nightingale taking on
Forgot.
Britt Baker on AEW Dynamite. That got changed at the last minute to a fatal 4-way. And
Mhm.
that match was fine. There was a bit of shenanigans in it. That led to us getting the 0 hour match, of course, with Anna
Mhm.
Jay and Harley, because Harley was saying, wait a minute, we didn't lose because of Soraya or me. This is Anna Jay's fault. Why didn't you come out there and help us? We're supposed to be friends. And Anna Jay's like, I'm not your friend. What do you mean?
Mhm.
So I do like that they built 2 matches out of that fatal 4-way and they made the best out of the situation. Very weird happenings, though. I don't know what to make of any of that.
The surroundings were weird. They initially announced Britt and Willow, and then Britt was sick. She couldn't come home. She couldn't come to the show. Tony Khan did a really loud TikTok where he was yelling. Like, it's like all of this is crazy, dog.
Yeah, announcing it via TikTok at the last minute and just everything about it was strange.
Like these are some shenanigans surrounding this. But I did like the match. I like that they had some plunder. They got to like have a really fun ladies match. And then this whole match inspired probably one of the best backstage segments that I've seen in a long time. Mariah May's back there because at the post match, Willow walks to the top of the ramp and try to get it on, trying to do the face pose off with Mariah. Mariah headbutts her, leaves her bloody. Mariah's in the back trying to do a promo with Renee, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Willow come and pounces her out of the scene, cuts an impassionate promo that's sealed with I'm gonna be the new AEW Women's World Champion. And Phil, before this, I was like, I don't really think there's any way that Willow could win this. Like, it doesn't feel like her time. But after the pouncing promo, I was like, oh, Willow's winning, dog. I was standing up, jumping in the air, like I really was hyped. I don't think that she's winning, but that was a very great backstage promo and inspiring ending to it.
Yeah, I think Willow, in a lot of ways, was one of the highlights of this week's episode of Dynamite. I think the win that she got was great, but also that backstage segment was so good. She has really turned into a good talker, and I think it has really elevated her as a character. That's one of those things since Mercedes came in. I think that feud and everything that came out of it helped her so much, and you can see it here. It feels like
confidence is through the roof, dog.
yeah, you can see how she really feels like a credible contender. She's got the full package now. I thought her cutting that promo with the blood on her face and everything, I thought that was great.
I was hyped, bro. I was like, oh, Willow, let's go. But yeah, she's just like, I always knew this day was going to come, but she's really like forming into like, oh, she's going to be the hottest baby face, man or woman, in this whole thing when she really gets all of it together. And it feels like she's almost there, dog. Like, if she doesn't, win tonight, I don't think she will. I think that there's more story to be told with Mariah and Mina and the story moving forward. But like Mercedes or Willow's going to have to be strapped up eventually moving forward here.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm very curious what they're going to do because I thought for sure that the match here was going to be Mariah versus Mina.
I thought that would be the match too. Yeah, I didn't get it.
So I'm wondering, is the Mina match going to happen somewhere down the line? Could that be at Full Gear or something? Or maybe World's End? I don't know. But
it felt like what WrestleDream represents, it would have made more sense to do it over here. But I mean, saving it for Full Gear, a bigger show, I'd get it.
Yeah, that is kind of confusing because that was the main reason I thought that the Mina match was going to happen here because it kind of fits the vibe of the show. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think Mariah's going to win this just because there's more story for her to be told, and I think she just needs more on her reign. A win against Willow is good for her.
Yeah, I agree. If you're really trying to build her up as this big heel, having her go against one of the best baby faces, not just in the division, but in the company, is really something she needs to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if this wasn't just a one-off too. Like if this match ends and it turns into like a actual rivalry as well, because I think Mariah needs something like that. She's been really missing that as champion.
That's been the one element. It's like the reason that we fell in love with Mariah is because of the Toni Storm stuff, and so like I don't want to say do it again, but like have her continuously in rivalries because we know she shines when she has somebody to bounce off.
Yeah, I agree. We got 3 more matches, but also one of the big things they promoted for tonight is the return of Swerve Strickland. That is off the backs of the MVP stuff with Nana. I have to assume
Yo,
that Swerve is going to address some of the stuff with Nana. MVP will probably come out. Do
that
you
promo this week, dog. That was the one with EJ and Swerve in the gym getting buff. I was like, yo, this is hard.
Yeah, I think all of the stuff that they've done since Swerve has been gone has been great. I love that they've continued to build up him having to actually go away and rehab
Mhm.
before he came back. It wasn't like he did the super dangerous match and then just showed up a week or two later. He actually had to, both recover and get his mind right to come back. And I also like that while he was gone, somebody showed up like, "Hey, what's up with your man? Like, you let him lose, you let his house get burned down." I think all of that is great. So, do you think we're gonna see Big Bob Lash tonight?
It feels like that's where we're being set up for. I mean, the story being told of MVP showing up and then the next week being like, oh, my homie's here too. And it's Shelton Benjamin. And then still trying to like online, he's playing up like, no, I still need to talk to Swerve. I still need
Yeah.
to get to him. I feel like, well, what's Swerve gonna address? He has to address that then. Like you don't come back and address anything other than that. Feels like it could be set up to see Big Bobby Lashley tonight. That'd be pretty wild, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that's kind of a logical thing because of the way they've been rolling out the Hurt Syndicate stuff so far.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, but this would be a good spot for him on the pay-per-view.
I'm thinking about that tweet of last night too. MVP tweeted at Smoke Dizza and Westside Gun, and he said, "I got something for you." Hashtag Hurt Syndicate. I've heard something that about a theme song around here, and
Oh, I didn't hear
brother,
that.
brother.
If they're part of his theme song, that's dope. I believe Smoke and Westside Gun are also promoting a show coming up next month here in Chicago. That should be
Dog,
dope.
are you gonna pull up?
Yeah, I think so. It's I think it's
Aye,
the first week of November,
it
but yeah,
is.
sounds dope.
You guys
Um,
have Eyes 3, I think.
yeah, I saw that they're doing the chairs kind of like WWE does for their
Mm-hmm.
pay-per-views. That's really cool. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. It would be cool to see Bobby tonight. I love the way that they've been setting up the Hurt Syndicate stuff so far. Um, it makes them feel like a big threat coming in.
It
And
does.
also, I love that they're continuing to make Swerve feel like a big star. So when he comes back, it's a big difference. Um, I didn't expect to miss him so much as world champion while he's been gone. I
Dog.
definitely think that him not being there, and it's not just him, it's MJF and a lot of other
Mhm.
wrestlers as well. But you could definitely feel the void on weekly television because Swerve was on almost every show at one point. And so him
Yeah.
not being there, it definitely feels like a main character has been missing.
Dog, we were spoiled with how much Swerve content we were getting on every show. Him just being presented as the big world champion, doing different things every week. It just felt like, damn, this is great. It is a huge void felt right now. This is perfect for this show. They're in Washington. You got to have Swerve on the show if there's in Washington. I love that point that you brought up about he didn't just come back right after the match a week or two later, fresh and healed and ready to go. Like they've been showing him in the gym. They've been showing him getting back. He said in one, I don't know if he said it on the Breakfast Club or some interview that he did that, oh, maybe it was the
I
now
think
what
it was
am I
Breakfast
thinking of?
Club.
Maybe it was the Breakfast Club where he said he wasn't cleared, or he was he like playing up the story in different avenues is where pretty much what I'm trying to get to. I think this is really dope for Swerve, and I'm happy he's back, honestly, regardless of what happens tonight.
Yeah, I think the Who's House chance and everything with Nana, and when he makes the case that he's choosing Nana to continue to be his representation, I think it's going to be big for him. Yeah, excited to see him. Excited to see where this Hurt Syndicate stuff goes in the next few weeks.
Yes, sir. Number one on the BW 500, Swerve Strickland.
Yep. Are you surprised that we are not getting a Mercedes match here? I thought Mercedes Statlander was going to end up on this card. I'm
Me
surprised
too.
it did not get announced.
Me too. Yeah, the most surprised, honestly, Phil Lindsey. I was more surprised because I was just excited to see her in some kind of match. I know there was like some stardom stuff that happened and something, but like I was like, maybe they could get a luchador like from Mexico or something. Like I was just excited to see her in this Wrestle Dream element. it's supposed to be like this wrestling show. I was like, oh, we got to be getting a Mercedes match. And they've had her on all the advertisements. They have her like front and center on the posters. Like it felt like she
Yeah.
was going to play a part, but something happened. I'm pretty confused about it.
Yeah, and I thought Mercedes Emmy was very good. It's not a
I loved
surprise
it.
because Emmy Sakura is
Emmy's so
great,
good.
and she brings out great matches in most of her opponents. But yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't announce this match for pay per view. Maybe they'll announce it before the show today, and they just I can't
Didn't
see
think they
them.
would take so long for that, right? That'd be weird.
Yeah, but I mean, even when you pull up Triller right now and you order the pay per view, she's on the graphic for it, and there's
Dog, I'm
no
saying
match.
she in all the advertising. What's going on here?
It's strange. The Statlander stuff is also a bit strange.
Mhm.
She immediately went from a heel to a babyface, and we didn't get a great explanation. I know if I say we didn't get any explanation, people are going to go, but look, she said this, and they had the video package last night. They did, but I do think they could have executed this a lot better. It's been very jarring. Um, the Stokely stuff, like I said on Twitter, it seems like something changed here and they had to adjust. I don't think
Mhm.
this was just a creative decision. You could see and just how it's being done. The fact that they're not on screen at all together anymore, it tells you there's something here that changed. I don't know what that is. I don't know the full story behind it,
Uh,
but I don't think this is necessarily creative going, all right, we're done with this story because they invested a lot of time in this heel turn for her and
yeah.
teaming her with Stokely. So to immediately just abruptly split them up and then don't even tell a good story about why they're splitting up. It tells me there's more here than meets the eye.
Yeah, it was the way that it all happened and the transitions of like Stat was just this big heel and then like immediately she's a baby face were for it's confusing, but it's like
Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like she should be a baby face anyways. I feel like they need more strong baby faces, but they just could have gotten to it a little different way.
Yeah, I personally have enjoyed her more as a baby face. Even when she was doing the
Mhm.
alien gimmick, I just think
Yeah.
she was better as a baby face.
I just think people want to cheer for her is the thing.
Yeah, but it's just something about this is strange. Even Stokely putting out that bill that she sent him on Twitter, I think that that was a nice touch, but it's just something about it that just felt off.
Right. Off. That's a good word, a good way to describe it.
But yeah, I think that this is a great matchup for Mercedes. I'm just wondering now, where is this match going to take place? I
Mhm.
think this, of course, could be a big one for both of them. Statlander was one of the people that Mercedes mentioned when she first got there that she wanted to have the match with. So this seems like the logical next opponent for her. But I just wish we got here in a better way.
I feel like we probably will get to Stat and Camille before we get to Stat and Mercedes. Like I wouldn't expect to see it before then, you know?
Yeah, I think all of the interactions with Statlander and um, Camille have been great.
Yeah, every time they're like just face to face or they start squaring off, it's like, yeah, we need this match, I think, pretty immediately.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason it's not on this card. They want to give this more time to develop into a better storyline and do the stuff with Statlander and Camille before the match. But
I
I
still
don't
wanted to
know.
see Mercedes on here.
I don't know. It just
I
still
know.
feels odd that she's not on this card.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, also got Hangman Adam Page taking on the returning Jay White. Jay White got a big pop the other night when he returned. I think all of his promos since he's been back are great. Very excited to see my guy back on TV. He's back with the
Mm-hmm.
New Japan theme. Vibes are back. I'm here for it.
Yep, Jay White is back. He's a baby face. He's slapping hands. He's kissing babies. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I like this Jay White energy because it's not very different than Hill Jay White because it's kind of the same mission objectives. It's kind of the same type of I want to be world champion, so I'm into it. Like if it's all about you becoming world champion, I don't care how you get there, dog. You're one of those ones. You should be that. Like I said with Jay White, he's one of those guys. I like what they did this week of like you're gonna put him in the match, you gotta let him talk too, because he's so strong at selling matches. If you want to really hammer something home, give this guy 2.5 minutes, and he's gonna do exactly that. And that's exactly what happened here. I think a match with him and Hangman Page immediately off him returning is perfect. These guys are gonna fight. Just one of those old school brawls. I feel like this is gonna be a sleeper match of the night, which it sounds crazy, sleeper with Jay White and Hangman Page, but like I don't think people are really thinking of this one as much as the others, and I feel like it's really gonna blow us away.
Yeah. Then there's a lot of story here between him and Hangman. I love that him coming back is not so much like, hey, I'm turning babyface for the sake of this feud just to be here. I think he's also like, wait a minute, I have plenty of reasons to have beef with you, so let me take care of this first. But also, I still want to be world champion. None of
Yep.
this is taking me from where I want to be. I know that I've been a part of this collective. I've had tag matches, but I'm still a singles wrestler. My main
Yes.
goal is still to be world champion.
I wish every wrestler would say that. Just even if you don't mean it, just say it. Just say it one time. I'm here to be world champion. That's the reason that we're all here. Just changes something for someone, especially like guys know should be in that division, should be in main event contention. Just say you want the belt. That's it.
Hmm. I think Jay White needs to win here. So I think Jay White is going to win. I'm
Mhm.
sure for some people that might be glaring coming off of Hangman having such a big win over Swerve at All Out, but I think it would be very strange to do this going straight into Jay White's return and Jay White comes right back and loses. I think Jay White's going to win
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I'm usually again wins and losses, guys. I'm like usually blah blah blah. But I feel like, yeah, Jay White needs this one a little bit more than Hangman. Like Hanger set up in a really good position where I feel like losses play into his character more. So I feel
Mhm.
like this is a good time to do it for Jay White. Jay White's coming off of this injury, this return. Like he needs this one a little bit more because we got to get serious about Jay White moving forward.
Yeah, agreed. We got a heater, and this is another one that could end up being match of the night. Big hologram, uh, Colliders Unite.
Hey yo, it's going crazy tonight.
Hologram will be taking on the Beast Mortos in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Mm.
Very, very excited for this. Hologram was incredible in his AEW Dynamite debut this week. That guy, the Hooper, I've been saying it since he got here. If you saw him as Aramis before he came here and became Hologram, I already knew. And man, you talk about a guy that has taken every opportunity he gets and run with it. He's been phenomenal.
They dreamed up this hologram character and people were like weird about what it was going to be, and then he comes out and he's this insane luchador and he just like changed all perspectives. This match this week against Commander was a video game match in the best way. It's a match that when I was younger I dreamed what pro wrestling would become. It was this. They did all the wildest shit you ever seen. Commander tried to do his rope walk into his dive, but Hologram cut him off. Commander had to, in midair, surf on the rope and power bomb Hologram out of the air. I'm like, what is this, dog? This is science. Like, who even thought of trying to do this move? The Commander did like a Dragon Rana at one point. Like, Hologram is his suicide dive is like nobody else should do it after seeing how he does. He's so fearless, he's so innovative, he's so different. Tonight against Beast Mortos, probably the best base in lucha. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match for us, but for our luchadors is a regular ass match because every match over there is a 2 out of 3 falls match. So this one's gonna blow everyone away.
Yeah, very excited for this match. And I think they've done a
Sick
great
match.
job in a short amount of time of building Hologram up into a new star. The fan base really likes him. I think this is such a great blueprint to bring somebody in. Not saying everybody needs to come in and have this win streak, but this is such a good use of Collision of putting him on another show and having him get the wins. And so when he comes to Dynamite, he's already built up this cachet and he's already built up a fan base. So you just
Yep.
want to see him do more things on a pay-per-view.
Exactly. Yeah, this is I love that they kind of done this slow build of like he was on Collision for a while. He just made his Dynamite debut. Now he's on pay-per-view. Fans have like he already feels like he's been around and he's one of those homegrown longtime guys, but he's only been around for a couple months and like he's established himself as he separated himself from the pack of sometimes you could get lost in the sauce when they do this kind of deal with you where like you're doing your thing on Collision, you're building this type of thing, but he's just like resonated with so many fans and built stock that it's wild. This match tonight is going to be crazy.
Yeah, yeah, can't say enough about how I think they've done a great job with him. I think you could do so much with him going forward. He doesn't have to be like this unbeatable wrestler, but there's so many cool things you can do with him now. Like if you put hologram in the Continental Classic, fans will be excited about that now because
Yep.
now you already know that this guy's going to put on a show. You can put a title on him. Man, you could easily put the international title on this guy at some point and have him
Yep.
go to CMLL and do all these international shows, and he would
Mhm.
be tremendous in that spot.
Yeah, any promotion he works for, just doing some of the stuff that he does would really blow everything out of the water. I think that he's going to win tonight. The Beast Mortos is here to base and do some wild and crazy things, but yeah, this feels like hologram.
Yeah, definitely think hologram's picking up the W here. The main event, Bryan Danielson taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. There were bits of this where Mox coming back, he really did a great job of transforming into his heel character, and I liked everything he was doing. His promos were great. I loved his stuff at the last pay-per-view, trying to murder Brian in Now Arena, and he's done so many interesting things. But I think the build to this match has been kind of messy. It's been kind of convoluted because you had so many other things going on. But I think last night the countdown did a great job of building this match. I watched the countdown this morning and I was sitting there drinking my coffee like this is amazing. Just the way that they built up all of the history with Blackpool Combat Club and told this very interesting story was not just their partnership and their alliance together, but both of their past with the company and what they've meant to the company. And that really kind of illuminates what the story is here. Brian came in and he was really a day one guy. I know that, of course, he had his time with WWE and we know him as Dean Ambrose and all these other things, but he's really a day one guy. He really was a part of the mission statement of this company. And that promo after Double or Nothing of him saying this is a paradigm shift, we needed something like this to change the trajectory of the wrestling business. And it felt real because AEW hit the ground running and they changed things. But you also saw how the crop of talent that came in 2021 also changed the direction of the company.
They did.
And you see how gradually Punk started, not Punk, but Punk at that time came in, Brian came in, Adam Cole, all of these guys came in and they didn't have the same impact on the company. And you can see Mox looking around like this company's changing. Nobody wants to say it, but this company's changing. And I feel like when he came back, he was ready to finally just tell the truth. All right, man, am I going to get into it or what are we doing? We're just going to continue to let this guy come out there and kill himself for you guys' entertainment. He's telling you guys, in order for me to retire, you got to kill me. And man, there's so many great lines. If you have not watched this countdown special, it is so good. You got to watch it. There's a great line in there where he says, the American Dragon is already dead. I'm just going to put him out of his misery. It's already over. You're looking at a shell of who this man is, but you guys just don't want to admit it because you're so much a fan of it. And that felt so real to me because I'm like, it's so true.
That's real. Yeah.
It's so true. And his motivations make all the sense in the world because like I said, he came in with the mission statement of what this company is supposed to be. He came in as a flag bearer for this brand, 3-time AEW World Champion, and what that meant to him. And now he's seeing this thing like, no, that belt is not a gold watch for this guy to retire and move off to the sunset.
Right.
Swerve had this right. When you take on that belt, you got to take on a target on your back and you got to do things that you wouldn't have had to do before. And that's why I keep saying you don't have the stomach for this no more. You're not that guy no more. It's over. And he's saying, I think everybody misreading him saying that somebody forced my hand and people saying this is Shane behind it. This is Josh Barnett. I don't think that's what he's saying at all. I think he's saying that somebody forced my hand and that guy is Bryan Danielson because he keeps going out there and telling you guys that I'm doing this for you. He isn't doing this for you. He has another one-liner in there where he says, man, Bryan Danielson is an addict. I know an addict when I see one. And he says, bro, that guy is addicted to this and he won't leave until somebody forces him to leave. Nobody else is going to say it. Nobody else is going to do it. I'll be the guy that puts him out of his misery. It's
Mm-hmm.
so, again, if you have not watched this, it's so good. The rise and fall of the Blackpool Combat Club, as it were. There's so many, man. There's so many lines in there. Brian also gets some great lines in where he says at one point, uh, "You it could take you a lifetime to earn somebody's respect, but you can lose it just like that."
Wow.
And he's like, I respected Moxley. I trusted him. And everything he's doing is hurts. And it's just when you're watching this, like you don't see it, Brian. He's not doing this just because, you know, he wants to take the title off of you. He's doing this because he hates what you're doing.
Yep.
He hates that you are going out there and feeling like you have to keep wrestling hurt and you have to keep doing this for your legacy. It's over, buddy. It
Yep.
is over. It's time for you to go home.
Yep. I feel like Mox is like, I want that championship so bad. I want to be the head of this company. I want to carry it. I've told you guys off rip that I want to lead the ship. And you're coming back here, you're beat up, you're saying that you're about to leave for your family, and you're the world champion. No, that's not how this is gonna go. I'm gonna be like, nobody wants to say it, nobody wants to do it. I'm gonna be the one to take you out for good because I see all angles of Bryan Danielson. You only show them the good outside in the ring. I see the good, I see the bad, I see the ugly, and it's time for you to go home. I feel like Mox being that one with the connection, Regal, all of this stuff makes a lot of sense. My question to you is, Philip Lindsey, after this special, after getting you into this match, are you ready for a Mox title run off of this?
I feel like with the story they're telling, um, the logical conclusion for this is for Moxley to beat him, and I think he's going to beat him in a very violent way. I think he is absolutely going to send Brian out the way that he probably wants to be sent out in reality on his back. Um, I don't see Brian winning this. I don't think that he's lying about the next surgery. I don't
I don't
think that
think
he's
so either.
lying about the pain that he's in.
I don't think so
Some of
either.
the excerpts we heard about him in the Okada match and how he felt he couldn't feel like, I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be out there then. Which is to Moxley's point, like, you've had your moment, you've had your day in the sun, you've had multiple days in the sun. Why are you still doing this? Because you feel like what you need to do this. And it's even more to his point with Blackpool Combat Club of saying, we built this thing to challenge people to get better. And this is what you made this about, your glory moment. This isn't about you.
Mm,
That this and that's why I keep saying this is bigger than me. This isn't just about me beating you and becoming champion. I need to become champion to turn this company to what it was supposed to be. This isn't a
right.
consolation prize for you. This isn't a celebration for you. Like, hey, that was cool when we did it for Sting, but that ain't what we set out to do. And not
Right.
just that, look what you're doing to Yuta. Like, we
Mm,
set out to toughen this kid up. You look what this dude is doing following you.
right. He's like crying for you, having all the sympathy and compassion when he should be killing people. Yeah, I do like that of like what this company was close to be the alternative. Like the world champion shouldn't be you, at the twilight of his career, about to end it type guy. Like it needs to be somebody that's going to be the future of this. I love it, but I think that there was points where it felt like people were all the way out on Mox even having the shot. So it was like, you guys need
Yeah.
to tell this story a little bit harder. But it sounds like this countdown special was what really was needed.
Countdown special was very good. But I think there's
Mm-hmm.
two things happening that I think that there's some people that don't want to see Mox as champion again.
Yep.
And then B, I think that because we've seen retirement angles so much in wrestling, that some people just don't believe that Brian is actually going to retire
Right.
and that he's not on a contract. I think that he's absolutely going away, guys. And again, I don't think that he is lying about his health. I don't think that he's in a good place. And I do think it's time for him to step away from full-time competition.
Yeah,
Uh,
when they announced the Okada match, this last one that just happened, I was thinking, why is this match happening? I don't think like I thought we we'd get to this last Mox match and get out of here. And then so he releases this interview where he's like, I was fucked up that whole time too. It's like, well, why did you do? I don't understand why y'all announced it then. It didn't really make sense. So yeah, I think tonight is the last full-time in-ring match of Bryan Danielson. Like, will he have matches in the future? Probably. He's a freak sicko, but like as a full ring wrestler, full-time in-ring wrestler, tonight is the night. I think Jon Moxley is going to defeat Bryan Danielson. The story tells us that it sent us there, and I
Yeah.
think, like Phil said, it's going to be in a very violent, bloody way.
Yes. And I didn't pay attention to some of the subtleties to the storyline, but again, if anybody is kind of a spiritual day one guy of this company, it's Jon Moxley. And for him to be looking around like this is what this company is now, somebody comes here to get their moment of the sun, and then what? They eventually leave and then leave this company with what? That's not what this was supposed to be. And I think that's also a part of him looking around at the younger guys that came in with him as day one guys. Like, this is what it is. Like, everybody's had their fun. The party has been fun, but the party is over.
Right. Like,
Like,
this is what you want. You want this. Like, you want these people coming ahead of you that have already had their moment in the sun. Like, this is what you guys want.
This is what you want. These guys coming in and getting their moment. Like, no disrespect to these guys, but that's not what this was supposed to be. And I'm coming in feeling that way as a guy that you would think would want to do that. That's not what this was supposed to be. And
it makes more sense even Mox saying it, because you would think like, no, you were WWE champion, dude. You main evented, like you would be one of those ones. And he's like, nah, that's exactly the reason why I was over here, because I'm the opposite of that.
And there is a lot of nuance to this, because again, you can look at it and tie it into everything that Mox has gone through since 2021. You brought in Punk, and every time when Punk either got injured or something happened with him, you gave me the ball back and you let me run with it because of the way that I'm respected here. And then when he came back, you were ready to give it back to him. Hey man, how many times did that have to happen for you to come back to me and go, hey, we need you again? And look at everything that's happened. Look at everything that's happened with all of the drama with this company. Look at the public stuff he said with how he hates all of this backstage drama. He hates how messy this is. It all feeds into what he's saying. Like, look, man, somebody's got to step up and lead. If it's got to be me, if I got to be the guy that stands up on the table and says enough, then it's me.
I see that level too of like, you guys always call me to do the dirty work. You guys aren't calling me to do the dirty work this time. I'm just going to do the dirty work this time because I know you need me to do it.
You don't see how this ends. You tried to give that other guy his moment, and look what happened. I'm going to end this for you because you don't have the heart to tell this guy he needs to go home and sit down.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's very convoluted getting up here. The Darby stuff, like I was like, I don't know, but I think like the story, this feels like we've been building for this for years. It's gonna be a great match. Like I'm loving it. I'm not really the word. Like I feel like there's some other people that could potentially have retired Bryan Danielson, but like Mox, it feels like since Bryan Danielson came to AEW, he's like, Mox is gonna be the one to retire me.
Yeah. Man, when you really think about that divide between him being the day one guy and the crop of guys that came into 2021, there's a lot you can say about that. Love Adam Cole to death, but like the way that Adam Cole's time with the company has gone and how unfortunate that has gone, the Punk drama, and then look at with the Bryan stuff and how Bryan has had numerous injuries, and you're trying to hold this guy together with with some tape to go, hey man, have your moment. Like, no man, like I'm the guy, I am the king of this land, and I'm telling you, he ain't the guy. This is not his company. This is not their company. This is our company.
Taking them to the back like, oh Yeller, that's crazy. Don't do Bryan like that, man. Yeah, when I saw when this week on Dynamite they had the tag match and Bryan came out on Dynamite to Final Countdown, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, man. Again, I really like the Mox character, but man, that countdown really sold me on this match. That really sold me on the story of this match. It really sold me of him as a day one guy, speaking not just to the roster, but speaking to the world. Like, no, this is what this company is going to be. And if you're going to come here, you got to know that you got to do what I would do. And not just that. If you think you're going to come here and have your moment of sun, you got to come through me.
Right. I love it. Great story. This is the match tonight. But yeah, Jon Moxley.
What a guy.
AEW World Champion. Crazy.
What a guy. I am
Mm.
fully prepared to say one of the best AEW wrestlers of all time,
Yeah.
ace of this company. Watching this and getting excited about this countdown, it immediately made me think of the move to Max as well, because the inspiration for the countdown was HBO boxing and the countdown to all of these big boxing matches. So the idea of them being on HBO Max next year and potentially getting these specials on HBO, that's a cool full circle moment.
Yeah, it's crazy how all these dots kind of connect in a different way. Like whoever thought that that would be a connection that's kind of made, and they're gonna have like this boxing type feel and background kind of associated and attached to it. The Max Steel is going to be awesome when they finally get it. It's going to add a different element, and them already kind of starting, I think, is a great sign. Mox leading the way, like this should be good overall. I think this is going to be a pretty great pay-per-view tonight.
Yeah, very excited for it.
Wrestling on it.
Very excited for what this means with like the future of the company. Because, and I've been thinking all this time as well. All right, this would work better if Garcia would come to Brian's aid.
Yeah.
But also, there is a very interesting story, and maybe this is my headcanon. But when you look at what Garcia has been saying all this time, restoring the feeling and bringing things back, he wouldn't side with Brian because I think he has the sense to see that Mox is right. Your time is over. Somebody's got to end it.
Right.
And it might not be somebody like Garcia that looks up to him, and where Yuta is, he looks up for him. And the same thing that we could have said with Darby going into his pay-per-view, you still are looking at this guy with rose-colored glasses. You're not going to do what needs to be done. None of you young guys are going to do what needs to be done, but I will.
And I'm doing this for you, honestly, because he's honestly, him being here in the company, Bryan Danielson, is messing up your heads, and we gotta just eliminate that, and I'll be the one to do it. Moxley, man, yeah,
great story.
Lot of elements and layers to that character.
The other small note that you can add to this, and again, this might be my headcanon. I love the idea that the catalyst for him looking at this and going, I have to be the one. I love the idea of him sitting somewhere looking at a monitor of that Swerve match and going, Swerve is right. You got to put this guy out of his misery and send him home. And then when Swerve lost, he sat there like, all right, then it's on me.
It has to be me. It's on me. I feel like that's a real thing. Like he's like, oh, Swerve ain't gonna do it. I got you. I'll do it.
Yeah. Y'all all tried to make Swerve out to be the bad guy. He's not the bad guy. He was right.
Like that whole thing could not have happened. Like if like the all out bit would have never happened if Swerve would have just won. Like Moxley would have just came back and been like, we're moving forward. But like he's like, no, I have to come back and take out Bryan Danielson. Then we'll move forward.
Yeah, because again, y'all still trying to give this guy his parade. He doesn't deserve a parade. He's got to go home.
Saying Brian don't deserve a parade. It's just really funny. He doesn't deserve a parade.
I seriously think that Mox is looking at this like, what is this? Like, y'all are giving him this parade. Y'all are treating this like, oh, well, good job. Let's give him his gold watch and let him have this retirement tour. That's not how these things work. That guy needs to go, and I'm gonna beat him and send him at home. And when my time is done, I hope somebody would do this for me too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm not selfish. Like it isn't just for Brian. Like I want to be the same. Like this, I guess that's what he's telling the young people of like, when it's my turn too, put the knife in my back. Don't wait for it. Don't do this. Don't act timid. You like got to get forward. You got to take this company if you want it. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I have a crew, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, and that flies in the face of him being the guy that says all of that. That's why all this Shane stuff is stupid. Everything he's saying goes against the idea of him wanting to work with Shane, because he's telling you in so many words, look, this is my company. This company is built around changing this industry. Why would he then want to work around somebody that's seen as the norm?
Yeah, that would be a TNA style Aces and Eights ending if they did that. If they're like, actually, just kidding, I was being a hypocrite. I want to do entertainment with Shane McMahon. That wouldn't make sense.
No, you this guy that's been building all of this really cool character driven stuff and bleeding on TV and all of this like nuanced stuff, going and doing sports entertainment stuff, that doesn't fit it off.
That makes sense.
That does not work at all.
Not to the story he's been telling either. He's like, actually, no, we're over here with Shane. No, that'd be so weird.
Makes absolutely no sense. But yeah,
Stop
that's
it.
AEW WrestleDream. I'm looking forward to this show. Yeah, let's get into some more super chats. Get your questions in,
Yes, sir.
and we'll hit some more topics.
Yep. Appreciate everybody submitting super chats and appreciate everybody sticking around for our wrestling and our hip hop talk. Y'all are the best. Bragov says, "Happy Grabster Day. Cannot wait for WrestleDream coming tonight." Jared T says, "Phil, McDonald's needs Monet Tejada to sing about the chicken Big Mac." R.I.P.
Yeah, I'm assuming he watched the SmackDown post show where at some point somebody brought up the chicken Big Mac, and I said, I don't know anything about this chicken sandwich. I saw that Kai Cenat ate it on his stream, and that was how I found out about it. And I said, maybe McDonald's needs the controversy of having Mary J. Blige get on and sing about the chicken sandwich, and then we know about it because it worked out for Big Mac. Well, not Big Mac. That worked out for Burger King. I don't think it worked out that well for Burger King.
No, it didn't. That was crazy. They still be trying to put that on Mary J. Like, what about that commercial though?
What's in the crispy chicken wrap?
Yeah, chicken Big Macs just sounds wild. Van Twinblade says, "I bring a joke. Why doesn't the bar want to date the necromancer? Necromancer only wants them for their body." Good one, Van Twinblade. You sick individual. Uncle Donk says, "Sup, fellas? Y'all think Shane will show up tonight? What's wrong?
I do not. We're not going to see Shane.
There's so many. Remember that one Ask Grapsody? There was like 30 straight questions. I'm like,
30
you guys,
Shane
leave
questions.
us alone.
I have no interest in seeing Shane on my television,
see
let alone in AEW. I think that is a jump in the shark moment for AEW if they bring in Shane, honestly.
Yeah, it wouldn't look good. It'd be a bad one, especially with kind of the talks and everything around it. Like, it just not a good move right now.
I know people want to babyface Shane after the documentary. That's what the documentary was meant to do, by the way. But I still don't want to see him on TV, and I don't want to see him in AEW, especially with Jon Moxley. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. Aaron Busby, our homie, says, "I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick and Aubrey diss Cole after that record on some man. Shut the fuck up shit." Also, Red, you going to Dynamite in San Jose next week? Yes, sir. Aaron Busby, I will be out there for Dynamite. Looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm on your side too, Busby. I feel like both of those guys are like even Drake's like, ugh, like, why are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't think they are. I would not be surprised at this point if Cole and Kendrick had a conversation.
Yeah. Where do you go from here? You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Tenruza says the road to K-Dot's halftime show will be wild. Cole getting things started. Who is Kendrick performing with there? DJ Head would get the interview. Well, that's what Elliot too. So
yeah. I still think that Kendrick's probably going to bring out Wayne. I don't think he's going to go out there and not bring out Shane. Shane. Bring out Wayne.
That's where Shane McMahon's going to be at the Super Bowl performance of Kendrick.
Bruh. If Kendrick was performing and he slid out there and started doing a shuffle with his feet, I would have cut my TV off, bro.
He comes out doing the fisticuff shit. That shit would be out.
I would cut my TV all the way off, bro. Like, enough. I think I'm going to go do something else, man.
Oh, funny. Hey, what's over there says, well, I forget about Cole, JID, and Kendrick on the track now. Thanks, Drake.
Yeah.
I feel like
he's been dropping some great music.
There's some Busby might be in with me on this conspiracy theory that Jid he wants smoke with Kendrick, and he's been throwing like subliminals, and because I've been hearing some, and I'm like, and because like every time, like I've been a Jid fan for probably like 6 or 7 years now, and like every time people hear him, they're like, oh, he's ripping off Kendrick. Like they always say something about him and Kendrick, just because he sometimes he changes his voice and he like the way he raps. Like you're definitely influenced by Kendrick, no matter what you try to say. And people I think he has always been upset about that.
Yeah.
Tenriza also says the newest and best hip hop and pod, The Bigger Picture with DJ Head, Elliot Wilson, and Jeremy Hinch is incredible. K-Dot turned down Coachella is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of fits. We've seen other rappers do Coachella and they were saying that they weren't feeling that crowd. I mean, Andre 3000 famously was like, this just don't
It's not a hip crowd
just
for
not a
that.
hip hop crowd.
Mm-mm.
So I can see him feeling like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, the optic of him saying he doesn't want to do that, but also doing a Super Bowl show is funny. But I can see reasons why he don't want to do Coachella.
Like I feel like I'm pretty sure Drake turned down Coachella too. Like they definitely asked him, and like it's just like that's not really the crowd for that. For what they're trying to do, they do their own huge shows that bring those type of crowds. Our homie Denise Alcedo, I'll see her later today, says towards your robot fund. She sends us a little cash. We ain't getting no robots out here, Denise. I'll see you later. Tenruza says Ibu space on Jimmy Jacobs was fun. Thoughts? What do you say about Jimmy Jacobs?
I was not in that spaces, but I saw some of the stuff this morning about people speculating about why he got fired. I'm assuming some of that stuff came from Ibu. Well, he didn't get fired, by the way. He quit.
Yes.
There's a Fightful Select report about it.
Did not get fired.
Sorry, misspoke. He did not get fired. Don't run with that. He quit. But there's been this weird criticism of Jimmy Jacobs since he got there. I think a lot of people thought straight away that he's bringing a lot of the WWE sensibilities to this company, and he was part of the reason why the company had changed for the worse. I've seen a lot of people assume that, and I don't think that's totally true. Even if he was part of some storylines that people don't like, I don't think that that's totally true or why he quit. I don't think that has anything to do with why he quit.
That's so funny. I'm like, how do people know? How would you know? You know, like
and I don't know what Ibu said in the spaces, so I can't speak to any of that.
Yeah, no, I just know that Jimmy Jacobs was not fired. He just quit. He's like, I'm done here. I think like the wear and tear of the pro wrestling business will beat your ass no matter what. And he's been in WWE, he's been in Impact, he's been in AEW, like he's been through the ringer, he's been in Ring of Honor. Like I could see him just being like, I'm chill here, you guys. But I don't know what the full story is. But he was not fired. Do not try to run with that.
Yeah, again, I don't know what was said in the spaces. I'm sure that there's going to be storylines that he was a part of, or
I'm just like, how do you connect Jimmy Jacobs to any like, oh, that was Jimmy Jacobs' fault, but this was this guy's fault? I'm like, how do you know? How do you know?
I think that there's storylines that he either was a part of creating, or some ideas of things he didn't get, or some parts or something like that. But as always, I think these things are more complicated than people think.
Totally. It's like not a single person's fault if you're trying to blame someone.
Yeah.
Leonard Aarons III says there has been an overarching theme being told on AEW TV the last month and change, and it hasn't been subtle. Step up or be stepped on, more or less.
Mark's been trying to tell y'all, bro. You step up or you got to go.
Yep. What's the thing that Anthony Bowen's all nut up or shut up? What does nut up mean, Phil? I always wondered that because they keep saying that nut up or something. Like, what does nut up mean? I don't really understand. What is nut up, Philip Lindsey? I don't know what it is.
Asking another man what nut up means is crazy.
I don't know what nut up means.
I only know what I assume nut up means.
Nut up or shut up. I'm like, I don't know what that means. The only time I hear nut up or nut. Nut up or shut up. I'll nut up for sure, but I don't think you could do that on TV. That's crazy.
Dog, I'll nut up for sure. It's also fucking crazy.
Tenruza says we see Omega, Cole, or Copeland tonight. Surprises?
No.
I don't think we're getting surprises. It'll be Lashley, but
I think if it's any surprise, it's probably Lashley. I don't think we'll see any of those guys you named.
Tenruza also says Christian tries cashing in, Cope returns to stop him. I don't think so.
No, because I do legitimately believe that Brian is retiring tonight from full-time competition, and I don't think they would want to do the Copeland thing to step on that moment, and I don't think that they would do the cash in also to step on that moment.
Yep, that's what that's why I think Christian's not going to be there. Like, they already got the big moment. They already got the drama and the passion. They don't need that extra element. Like, I feel like Christian trying to cash in on somebody else will make more sense just because of the story that they're telling here. Like, Brian's gonna end up like bloody and beat up in the middle of the ring, and like I don't feel like that's gonna be needed.
Yeah.
Hey, what's over there says, for me, if Jack leaned more into religious themes of the scapegoat character, it would work more and have him feud with the House of Black.
Yeah, that could work. I just think
Yeah.
that they've got to give him his own feuds at this point. Now that you're moving on, like from the Elite as a collective being this team that runs roughshod on the whole company, you've got to give him his own feuds.
Exactly. And those, hey, what's over there? Those religious themes, there's a fine line with those,
Very,
brother.
very, very fine line you got to toe on religion.
Hey, what's over there? Also says hologram dive reminds me of the dive that Dragon Lee hit on Kenny in that trios match of LFI versus the Elite. Yeah, they have very similar wild ass dives.
Yeah.
Hey, what's over there? Also says my favorite line from the countdown was Brian has been trying to kamikaze himself for years, and I think it's Sami Callihan, the one who pushed Mox to do this.
Yeah, no, that was also a great line where he keeps trying to say, man, this guy is going up there and killing himself for you guys, and you guys are cheering. Like, this isn't a good thing. Somebody has to be the one to tell him it's over. Go home.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that generous super chat. Hey, what's over there? That's dope. AEW Women's Division blog says BCC and Elite both want to control AEW. Both say you do that through the titles. They could have every men's title except for an international BCC Elite supergroup. Question mark.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think that the Elite is not in line with what Blackpool Combat Club wants to do.
Also, kind of the opposite of what they want to do, honestly. Like represent what Mox doesn't want here. Like they're rich guys, they got the belts, they wrestle when they want to, they don't give a shit about anything. Like, yeah, it wouldn't really make sense.
Christian Ramos is saying that nut up means man up, which it does. I just couldn't get past how wild it sounds.
It still sounds wild. Why just say man up or shit? Like nut up is just like I knew what it means too. I guess I just want to know the origin more than anything. I'm like, why do people say that? Man up. Yeah, definitely nut up. Like it's like teabagging or something. Like put my nuts on I don't. All right. Hey, what's over there? Also says to have more context to my last chat, I think Mox was sitting backstage at a Wrestle Revolver show, and Callahan was like, "You haven't put Brian out of his misery yet."
Yeah, I don't know if I believe this is leading to Sami coming in. Maybe. I just think that when he says that, somebody's forcing his hand, I don't think it's literally somebody told him. I think he's looking at this like somebody's got to be the guy that really leads this company and tells everybody what they need to hear and not what they want to hear.
Yeah, I think you said it best earlier. Someone is forcing his hand. It's Bryan Danielson. Like you're forcing me to put you out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jay Hayes says JID, Corday, and Harlow's biggest mistakes is existing while Drake, Kendrick, and Cole still run things. Take Jack Harlow out of that. That's cool. I don't know.
Corday is fire. I mean, Harlow
is super fire.
Harlow makes good music, but I can see him he not being your cup of tea.
And it's not because he's white, you guys. I just don't really think that fool raps that tight.
You're not sitting at home rocking a Fabulous record?
No.
Nah,
trash.
Bro. The idea of you sitting somewhere lighting up a blunt with the FAOUS.
No, I can't. I can't.
First class.
Absolutely not.
It's hilarious. First class.
I'm just in a tank top smoking, drinking a mimosa. No, absolutely not. That's all of our super chats for now. I appreciate y'all. First class. Ridiculous.
Nah, man. My man brought out brandy. Come on, bro.
Well, shout out to Jid and Corday. They can rap though. I think Jack Harlow can rap. He's just not really.
I mean, yeah. And to his point, one of the last times Jack Harlow was newsworthy with rap was when he had that Drake verse on his record, and the Drake verse was crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest one that's mistaken while these three exist is fucking Big Sean. He's really one. Big Sean and Wale are like the ones that are really like
While I keep trying to tell y'all, bro, I'm one of them ones, and people not listening to them.
They keep trying to say Wale can't rap. I'm like, you never heard Wale? Is what you're saying? That's fine.
No, Wale is super nice. I ain't trying to hear that. He was just here
Wale's
last night.
real spitter. He just like does the other stuff because he knows that it's palatable.
Yep. But yeah, Wale was just here last night. I would have gone because I think it's House of Blues here in Chicago, but had stuff to do that night. Was on the post show for SmackDown, so I did not end up going.
Miss Wale to watch SmackDown. That's crazy.
Come on, man. Sometimes it's like that, man. But yeah, we're gonna get into some Humper chats. But before we do that, I'm gonna hit you guys with a word from our sponsor.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
As always, please bet responsibly. But if you're looking for a sports book for all your sports betting needs, including pro wrestling, BetOnline.ag is a place to go.
Get your bets in. What show's coming up that they can bet on? You could probably bet on WrestleDream.
Yeah, you can bet on wrestling show tonight, WrestleDream. They have the favorites up for a bunch of shows and for a bunch of the matches. Yeah, probably some upsets that you can get on there. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that Young Bucks are the favorite to win tonight. I actually don't think they're going to win. So
I hope they don't.
Yeah, maybe that's just me hoping that they don't win this one.
Bet you don't get it. Hope you don't get it.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of Humper chats. We have a lot of Humper chats because we did not read any of them.
Let's get into it.
See, I see from our first Humper chat, we probably should get into Bad Blood first, and then
Bad Blood.
That makes more sense to get into where it seems like the Humper chats are going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, last Saturday, Bad Blood took place in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of ways, Mecca for Black people. Absolutely, the entertainment capital for Black people. Big place for hip hop. A lot of Southern music. A lot of the culture emanates from Atlanta, Georgia.
How are you doing this?
Well, because I'm trying to set the table. I'm trying to set the stage for Bad Blood in this show. And what I felt like was there was a lot of the culture on display on the show.
Yeah, it tripped me out. When I brought up the Sweet thing earlier, the Sweet was filled with some of my favorite rappers. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. So, yeah, Bad Blood, I thought it was a solid show. The stuff that I really liked was great. The stuff that was not good was not good. Open the night with, I think, the high point of the night. Well, not even I think the high point. Absolutely the high point of the night. The CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell. We talked about it last week on how they had to go for it. This needed to be the violent match to justify this feud. And it was that and more. This was a fantastic match. I don't think it's a exaggeration at all to say it's one of CM Punk's best matches since he came back. Absolutely his best match with WWE since he came back. And it was everything this needed to be. It was a great blow off match for this feud. And I thought both guys, it showed like they were going for it. A lot of very violent, gnarly looking spots in this. Of course, I'm sure you've seen it by now. Drew having this big, huge cut on his head from getting whacked in the head with that toolbox, which looked, oh my god, it looked horrible.
They, last week we talked about how the importance of the Hell in the Cell and kind of what it represented. that Seth and Fiend match still leave a very nasty taste in a lot of people's mouth. I'm like, you guys got to come out with some heat. Brother, did it. They came out fighting. They were bloody. Honestly, Phil, there was a lot of nasty stuff, but I think the nastiest spot of the match was the missed Claymore and Drew hit his bottom of his back on those steps. I'm like, that had to hurt so fucking much.
Yeah, I crumbled in my seat when he hit that and landed
My
straight on his
back.
back on those steps. I was like, oh my God, that looked nasty.
What are y'all doing out here? Like, this felt like the way that they've been talking about each other, the way that they've been building this feud for these last couple months, this felt like the blow off to that. They had tables in here, they were bloody. They're like Phil said, there's some controversy with this toolbox. And was Drew supposed to do this? Is Punk being reckless? I'm like, you guys, come on.
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. But yeah, I absolutely love this match. Easily the match of the night. I think it's going to be one of the best matches of the year. One of the best Hell in a Cell matches we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
As much criticism as the Rollins and Fiend match gets, I think we've seen guys do a lot to restore the stipulation since then. Because, like I said, the Cody match at Hell in a Cell, that was one of the best Hell in a Cell matches we've seen in a while. Mm-hmm. Also, Seth Rollins versus Edge at the Saudi show, also a very good Hell in a Cell match. And then we got this one, and it kind of feels like now, hey, maybe it doesn't need to be a stipulation match that you do at like a pay-per-view named after it every year. But if you're going to you on Bad Blood and bring it in when it's a feud that necessitates it, then great. And put guys in it that actually care about progressing the stipulation for it. Because it definitely felt like Punk and Drew went into this not just with something to prove for the feud that they've had, but also with the hope of elevating the stipulation match.
Definitely. I was not surprised at the result, but I laughed because I was like, they're about to be so mad when this guy wins that championship very soon here.
So I said this last night on SmackDown, and I more and more dots are connecting with this because I said it, I believe, on Ask Grapsody. I was like, seems like they are teeing this guy up.
I'm saying,
but
it looks like it.
But at the end of this match, the match was great. Him coming out and telling people on the next episode of Raw, I'm going to take some time off. He was selling it, which, by the way, I think was a great part of this as well. And this is Punk being very old school, traditional guy. It wasn't like he had this great match. He came out flexing like, ha, I outlasted this guy. Him coming out and selling it on the way out, collapsing, having the oxygen machine out there with him, and even coming out the next day and saying, I got to take some time off because of the toll this took on him, not just mentally, but physically, and having that completely throw him off about, I don't know how much I still want to do this because the places this took me, which it's funny that these are very similar themes that he did with AEW. It's the same kind of themes he did with the MJF feud of, I had to go places that I didn't want to go anymore. I
didn't want to go there again
to beat this guy. But that led him back to the world title.
To the world championship.
That's I feel like they're telling very similar stories here of him having to go back to this place and be that guy to be champion. And
as soon as when he fell into the pen and he's laying back on him, I'm like, that's our future world champion right there. Well, as soon as the 3 hit, I was like, I saw it in my brain. I was all, they're going to use this when he's winning the championship.
Now, also funny that all of this, hey, I got to take a break. You guys are going to start the show. Well, I'm going home.
I need to take a little time for the next couple of weeks. I think see my wife. I haven't been home in 5 weeks.
Yeah, but man, all the dots started connecting for me when I was looking at stuff on Raw, and I was like, okay, Gunther holding that belt. It's an homage to the belt that he very famously held more than once with AEW. 2-time Money in the Bank winner. Both times he won Money in the Bank, he cashed in to win that belt. How that belt is synonymous with him and Jeff Hardy, Undertaker feud, all of these things he did on SmackDown. It makes all the sense in the world for him to come back and win that belt. And I also paid attention to, if you look at all of the guys that are currently turning heel, they all have one thing in common. They all have history with him. Kevin Owens, turning heel, has history with him. The Miz, turning heel, has history with Punk. Seth Rollins even showed hints of it on Monday, turning heel. Braun Breaker reminded you guys, oh, you guys think I'm turning face? Nope, still turning heel, still a heel here, has ties to Paul Heyman. Punk said himself on NXT, I'm eventually going to wrestle this guy on TV. It very much feels like they're setting up heels for this guy to have as opponents as champion. I don't think I'm misreading this. Could be all a coincidence, but the dots are connecting. Also, when you look at like, all right, let's not put this guy in a Royal Rumble match. How did that end for us last year? The best way we can get him in the main event of this show is if we put a belt on him. They've been putting over how he's been the highest drawing segments when he shows up. He's been treated as a main character on the show. It just makes too much sense. Also, certain guys coming back that he very famously feuded with, John Cena. John Cena is currently tied for Ric Flair's record. And it would make all the sense in the world if he shows up and says, I want to beat Ric Flair's record. And the guy holding the belt that is an homage to Ric's belt is CM Punk.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I felt it. I was like, oh, I see it. I see the vision.
So, I do think that Punk versus Gunther will be the match of Survivor Series. I don't know if he'll beat him at Survivor Series, but I do have a strong feeling that he will be champion eventually.
I kind of feel like that what you're saying with the Royal Rumble is correct, and I feel like he'll beat him at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I think Gunther versus Cena is strong as well, but if you're telling me we got the one last time to do Punk versus Cena again and have it be for that belt of all belts with him trying to break Ric's record, that story writes itself, man.
So get ready to be mad, all you Punk haters.
Also, the guy that came out while he was walking away to go right off into the sunset when he was telling you, which very funny guy saying, man, all you got to keep doubting me. Very funny to me on several fucking players. Very funny to me. But the guy that came out and confronted him, he popularized that belt. He would hate more than anything for that guy to just come back and have 3 matches this year and win that belt. The guy that the belt that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into.
And he's not going to defend it like Rollins did, adding more onto like what I made this belt and you're making it not in the opposite of that. That's really going to piss him off.
Add to that his belt that he made to be the guy that's there every week. You're going to do exactly what Roman was doing and not be here every week. This is exactly what I wanted that belt to not be. It makes all the sense in the world for him to win that belt.
You think they'll do them two at Mania?
Of course. I think that is where all of this is leading. I think that's the big story. I think that's why they've been keeping them away from each other at every turn. I absolutely believe that that's probably going to be the main event of one of those nights.
That makes sense. The first night.
Yeah. Didn't I think we were going to go into all of that? All of the dots are connected. It just
I could just see it. When he won the match, I was like, I see it. Yeah, I see it clearly. What's next for Drew before we move forward?
Huh?
What's next for Drew before we move off this match?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know because I don't know, but
it's hard, right? Because like where everything you just explained, I'm like, where does Drew fit in all of that?
That also makes all of this funny because again, Punk and his history with this company and him getting on that podcast and saying, "Oh, you're going to be one of the hottest heels in the company. You're going to go and have this big feud with Undertaker." And then he goes, "Where does that leave me when he beats me? I'm going to be still here." And then on Monday, he goes away. And that's exactly what Punk did. It goes into exactly what Drew said, that this guy's a total hypocrite.
And on Monday, you're just going to come and go away. And he came and was like, "I'm leaving, you guys."
So he beats me and then goes away. Where does that leave me? Oh man, so great. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know where this leaves him. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Drew was exceptional in that match. I think that he's been exceptional in the feud. He's done a lot of heavy lifting of building this feud, during the weeks sometimes when Punk wasn't there. This first year of Punk being in this company would not have been what it was without Drew McIntyre. I think he absolutely deserves all the credit in the world for that. He needed a dance partner like this, and it's crazy to think about like what MJF offered him in AEW. That's exactly what Drew did for him here.
Him being able to kind of tell the same stories with the same type of feelings and emotions attached to him is really interesting. It's like you could do the same thing with a different wrestler and it still hits the same. Is like wild.
But I think that also ties into him saying all you guys to keep doubting me, because the last thing he's done since he's come back is because you can look at it this way. His run with AEW, he had the matches. He was wrestling on TV regularly. He was having good pay-per-view matches. The thing that he didn't have over there was a successful world title run. That's really the last thing for him to do with his time back with WWE, and of course main event WrestleMania. So again, that leads me even more to believe that he's gonna win the championship.
It's happening.
Yeah. I really want him to turn heel as well, but I don't think that's gonna happen, especially like I said, with all of this stuff. It seems like they're
building heels.
Because I do think we're going to see Punk versus Miz at some point. I think it's inevitable. I do think we're probably going to see, if Kevin Owens resigns, which I do think he does, if all of this goes the way I think it should and he stays healthy, I do think we're going to see Kevin Owens versus Punk at some point.
Same. Don't resign KO.
But yeah, man, absolute high point. I don't want to say that this pay-per-view then slid down a hill and never got better after this, but yeah,
you don't have to use those words so much, but like it wasn't. I mean, that definitely was the high point of the show. There's a couple of things in here that I liked.
Yeah, sure. Very divisive match, Nia Jax versus Bayley. A lot of people didn't like this match online. I saw Meltzer gave it a very low rating. I did not agree with that rating at all. I thought that this match was very enjoyable. I continue to say we got to give Nia Jax her credit. Yes. She has stepped up her game since she's come back a lot. She seems very much more motivated. Her character work is better. Her promos have been better. She's been trying more stuff in the ring. She doesn't want to just go through the motions and do the same power move set that she's done. A lot of people are going to jump on her for that Frankenstein or the whatever from the Hurricane Rana from the top rope. It didn't look good, but I applaud her trying to do something different. I applaud her and Bayley trying to progress and do more with the women's matches and do more with the spots they're given. Nia wrestled a very different match here. She used the power game here, but she also showed some mat-based game here. She was doing some counter, and I was like, yo, what's going on?
Hey, at one point, I laughed out loud. I was like, why is Nia Jax working like Zack Sabre Jr.? Like, she would pin Bayley, and then Bayley would put her arm up, and then Nia would grab. I was like, why is Nia? What's going on?
Nia watches Zack Sabre tape is hilarious.
I'm like, no, Nia working like Zack Sabre out here. Like, she's like grabbing on Bayley's leg. She'll grab an ankle, like any kind of limb that Bayley would have out. Nia would grab. I'm like, Nia, why is she working like Zack Sabre Jr.? That's hilarious. Yeah, I like this match better than the other women's match. That's for damn sure. I think that Nia, since she's been back, that her aggression is the most favorite thing about it. Some people get hung up on it because they think she could be a little too aggressive, but I think that adds to it. Like, look how much bigger she is than all of these people. She should be manhandling every woman that she is in the ring with. That's part of the character of, like, to get a big win over, you have to outsmart, you have to use your speed, you have to use something different. Like, she's a powerful woman. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that she's looked very dominant. This is easily the best year of her career. Yeah. Main eventing a show earlier this year with Rhea in Australia, winning the Queen of the Ring tournament, being champion. This is easily her best title run. I don't even think it's close.
Right. Yeah.
She's been doing great stuff with Tiffany on SmackDown as well. The stuff this week with her and Tiffany, where she's laying down how, yeah, I'm gonna win this match, gonna go to Saudi Arabia, gonna be the first crown jewel women's champion, and then it puts this big headlock on Tiffany and goes, then it's Tiffany time because you are gonna cash in on Liv, right? So all of that was very funny to me.
Aggressive ass Nia is so good. But yeah, she's just, it feels like all of her other title reigns, she played second fiddle to whoever the champion was. She wasn't really given the dominant run. And this time she's like punking everybody. She's having great matches. Like she's really came into the Nia Jax character.
Yeah, I really like the finish of this match. The super Samoan drop from the top rope, and then Nia laid out right afterwards. It looked devastating. I think it made her look dominant.
Annihilate me, please. Okay, sorry.
Was a very big fan of this. I'm enjoying this reign from Nia. I'm enjoying this run from Nia. I think it's the best work she's done of her career.
Yeah, I'm loving the position. I think that them always being able to have a big, mean, angry heel and Nia moving forward off of it. This feels like this reign reestablished her as who she should be. Her confidence and the level that she's working is different. I'm really happy for her. Like they were trying to talk crazy on Nia's name for a while and put stuff on her, say she's dangerous and all this. And I'm glad that she took all that as motivation and turned it around.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this time around, she has come in with a point to prove. She's in better shape. She's putting more emphasis in her in-ring work when she goes into this matches. Again, I don't think that Hurricane Rana looked great. But again, I applaud the approach. I applaud you trying to do more and trying to do better.
I'm sure they probably tried it in practice and were like, yeah, we can do it and it look better. But you get out there, people, ropes, sweat, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, we saw that with the Javon Evans thing with Orton this week and how he was, I'm sure that they worked that spot and it seemed like he was really disappointed that it didn't work out in the match because that would have been a big moment for him. But
still was a moment. I still saw it like 1,000 times this week. So it's like, I mean, good or bad, you're still going to be out there.
Yeah, it's wrestling. I don't know if I believe we're getting the match that is being promoted for the Saudi show. Something about it tells me that that's not going to be the outcome to this. I don't think it'll be a heel versus heel match, and just the size disparity. I think something's going to change with that match by Crown Jewel.
Same here. You think that Nia is going to be the one to lose, though?
I wouldn't be mad at Naomi beating her for the title. I think that could be a good move because I think a lot of people think that Tiffany is going to turn face, and I could easily see this leading to Tiffany remaining a heel but cashing in on somebody else that eventually ends up beating Nia. Now, I also think part of the story is Tiffany getting the one up on Nia, so I think she should cash in, but also I wouldn't be mad at Naomi finally getting over the hump and then getting cashed in on because that would get a lot of heat on Tiffany.
I think the worst match outcome is Tiffany and Liv, so they can't get to that. Like, I don't feel like that'll be the match. Naomi and Liv will work better. Nia, I think Tiffany can be in there, but Liv wouldn't be a good opponent for this, especially for like they're debuting this championship, which is also weird and interesting, I guess. I feel like they're gonna possibly change it too.
Who knows? We got Damian Priest versus Finn Balor up next. This was good. It still felt like kind of a Raw main event for me, but I thought it was a solid match. Both of these guys worked well together. The only problem that I have with it was Finn taking his loss here. I don't see any reason why you continue this. I think you should move both of these guys on to something else.
Yeah, I don't know why they're still locked in. Even the with Rhea, like everybody involved in this in some capacity is overstaying where they are because I feel like we've been doing this Judgment Day implosion fight thing for so long, and then like they haven't been attached to anybody else for way too long, and I just want to see everybody do something else.
Yeah, I'm just ready. That was one of the things I noticed from SmackDown this week when Liv was coming out and having the segments with Nia and Tiffany instead. I was like, this is why it's time for them to move on. We just need Liv to do something different. We need Rhea doing something different. It's time.
Yep. For everybody.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we got Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I did not like this match, guys.
Keep it.
I'm sorry. I want to be like, there were good things about this match. I think the match they worked besides all of the goofy shark tank stuff. that stuff was good. I think Liv showed some good offense here. I think Rhea still looks like a big, massive star. The shark cage stuff was not good. The At some point we're sitting there in the midst of this match, and the shark cage just flies open. We have no explanation why it just flies open. It just
No.
comes flying open,
Yeah.
and Dom is hanging out of it. Eventually, he falls out of it, and he's hanging by. I think that's like a shirt that he keeps around his waist or whatever it is. He's hanging from the thing, and
Rhea, who was in a world fucking championship match, leaves the ring to go and hit tied up Dom for some reason, takes her whole mind off of the world championship match that she's in. When she's outside the ring hitting him with the kendo stick, I'm like, what? Why are you? What?
Yeah.
The match is going on still.
Yeah. Rhea turning to the ref and telling him, "Give me a minute. I'm gonna go and beat this guy like a pinata." And the ref gave her the minute, so she's out there looking
Said,
for
okay.
a kendo stick. Goes out there and starts beating him. And the entire time, the ref doesn't count. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would he do that? Why would he just allow her to do that?
Give me a minute. Okay. No, that's not how this works, dude.
That's silly. So then we get the Raquel return. Raquel turns heel and attacks Rhea. And I assume something was supposed to happen here. I'm assuming what was supposed to happen was the ref was supposed to be looking the other way. But the ref is caught on camera looking at Raquel attacking Rhea. So he has no choice but to call for the bell and call for a disqualification. But Raquel continues with what was planned and drags Rhea in the ring and puts her on top of Liv for the pin. But the pin doesn't matter at this point because the ref has called for the bell. But this is why it makes even less sense rather, that he allowed her to go outside the ring. So wait a minute, you called for the disqualification, but you weren't calling for the count out while she was standing outside the ring. All of this was stupid.
Why are you doing your job over here but not over here? And then that was so weird. So what's her face? How did I forget her name? Raquel comes in and hits her spot on Rhea, and then you're like, okay, she looks cool in here, but then she drags Liv over to pin her, and it's like, but we already heard the bell ring, so it made Raquel look kind of dumb. But it was they were trying to make up for it on commentary, like, well, yeah, they're just trying to show that she could have beat. I'm like, I don't really.
Even Liv trying to go into the press conference afterwards and say, "See, I beat her. I outsmarted her, but you didn't beat her." And again, that's heel stuff, so that's fine. But I thought that this made everybody involved look kind of silly. It made Liv look silly afterwards for gloating about beating her. It made Rhea look silly for not just trying to win the match.
She just focused on Dom the whole time.
It confirmed for some people that this feud is not about the belt; it's about Dom. I thought that was the worst thing about it. I think to confirm that for people, that absolutely sucked. And
when Rhea was on the top rope at one point and the cage comes flying open, like Phil says, we don't know why. And she just looks up and she's like, dude, what? Why is Dom playing the distract? Like, he's supposed to be not distracted. I thought that was the point of this match. It was just silly.
That was all very stupid. I thought it made Raquel look silly as well. And this is supposed to be her big return. It didn't come off looking good for her. And I felt so bad for her because she had to take time off for a legitimate health issue with, like, she had like the skin issue. And so I felt bad that she worked so hard to get back and get this moment, and it clearly was botched in some way. Was not a fan of this at all. I do think it was the right move to make Raquel a heel again. I think putting her with Liv is smart. There are good things you can do with this. You can turn them into a tag team again. I do think the long game here is for Liv to eventually dump Dom and point out, haha, I was playing you all along. I just wanted to turn you against Rhea, and I've done that. And her and Raquel are going to go off on their own.
Yeah, I feel like if we get to that like pretty quickly, I'll be into it. But this execution wasn't the greatest. I just want Liv and Rhea to separate. It's over.
Yeah, I'm very much ready for this feud to end. But I was sitting there while it was happening. If you remember, everything I said last week ended up happening exactly the way I said it was going to happen. And I was just like, I just want this feud to be over. But I knew that they were going to end it because they haven't set up any challengers for this title. I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to go on, and the match at Survivor Series is going to be Rhea versus Liv. I hope if that's the case, end this at Survivor Series and move on.
Yeah. We've seen this for so many months. Like, we gotta do something else, and other women just need to get an opportunity. Is the thing.
Yeah, I know people are gonna want to talk a lot about the SmackDown stuff and the tag team match, but I thought what they did with the women on Raw was indicative of how much this feud and everything around it has kind of harmed Raw's women's division, because you had to do this catch-all segment with 10 women and it did nothing for any of those women. It felt very Diva era-esque.
Yep,
I didn't like it.
that
And it
sucked. Bring out 5 women announcing all their names, one entrance for all 5.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't like it. It felt very lazy, and it was kind of what I didn't like about SmackDown's women's stuff, which is annoying because I think SmackDown has been doing better with the women, and this was definitely a step back in some ways.
yeah, I feel like the Nia and Tiffany and all that stuff has been pretty good. This was the tag match was people were not happy.
No. Then we got the main event. Now, I should say before I get to this main event, again, this show was very black in a lot of ways. We had a lot of rappers in the crowd. We got to see Metro Boomin, of course, because Metro Boomin was a big part of the promotion for the show. We got to see Killer Mike.
Yachty was out there.
That's right. Yachty was out there. Yachty was sitting next to Rosenberg. They did the whole thing where Rosenberg was talking to him on camera and explaining certain things during the Damian Priest and Finn Balor match. Quavo was there. Quavo was in that sweet segment. We had the Big Three hosting the show, and then we got this match where Cody came out with a marching band from HBCU. Had the Majorettes behind next to him, which Cody is very funny to me, man.
Hilarious.
Very, very funny guy. He comes out with the Majorettes, and this guy couldn't have looked any happier. They showed the behind the scenes of this and him watching them practice. This guy, you would have thought that this was his life's goal, his entire life.
Right?
Very, very funny stuff.
He worked his whole, like, he put in his contract, I'm gonna come back. I need the big entrance. Like, if we're gonna be in Atlanta, I've been waiting my whole life to do this big entrance. Bring him out.
Yeah, A-Shock, that punk shirt, that's the Run the Jewels reference, is actually old. That used to be one of his pro wrestling t-shirt. That shirt predates his return to wrestling, I believe. It definitely predates his return to WWE. The fact that he met Killer Mike here and got to take the picture backstage was just more of a full circle moment.
Right.
But yeah, the Lil Baby was there. A lot of the culture was well represented outside the ring here. And we got Cody coming out with this very black entrance, HBCU and the Majorettes. And then funny enough, he as champion got this big entrance, but then Roman had to get his big entrance.
Yeah, no, it was like after I watched, it was so funny, Phil, because like I was doing a little play-by-play in our group chat, and so you're like, wait till you see Cody's entrance. And so I'm like laughing at Cody's entrance. And then it's over, and I'm like, wait, why are they setting up more stuff? Roman gets his big giant entrance too. I'm like, first of all, the fact that Roman came after Cody and did this big entrance shows exactly whose house this is.
Yeah, but man, well deserved for Cody in a lot of ways. I have to assume a big part of the reason they did this show in Atlanta, in his hometown, is because of him as champion. Right. And we got a lot of talk about him as champion criticism, but I believe it was Meltzer that put out some of the numbers about, how he's been drawing at a lot of these shows, these main evented, and how they're doing very well business wise. That report came out recently about him being top 5 on Fanatic, and that's not just among wrestlers, that's among everybody that has merch on Fanatics, and that's just tells you just how well he's doing for the company as on the financial side. So yeah, this was a big moment for him as champion, coming back to Atlanta and getting that moment. I just wish it wasn't still attached to all this bloodline stuff, but what can you do? This match was solid. It was serviceable for what it was. It was, tag team stuff to advance the storyline between Cody and Roman, and Roman and the new bloodline. Nothing about it really blew me away.
We're all just waiting. It's a Roman match, so we're waiting for the end, pretty much.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, all right, this is the main event, and you know why, because Cody's champion, it's Roman, and everything about it. That's why. But at any other circumstance, that Hell in a Cell match should have been the main event of the show. It was the best match. It had the best story going into it. It had the best build. It should have been the main event.
And that's just how you end the night, with the bloody feud ender. But, Roman's the biggest guy here. Cody's a huge draw, bloodline stuff. Like,
it's Atlanta. You were going to close this show with Cody. So I thought in that way it worked. It was a good end of the night culmination for all the story stuff they've been doing on SmackDown. It was a good moment for Cody. This was a fitting way to end the night with Roman's first pay-per-view match since WrestleMania. But yeah, we got the Jimmy return, which I thought was handled very, very well. Boy, that pop for Jimmy was whoo.
People have been waiting for this. Got to get the squad back together, man. Him and Jay.
That was the thing I immediately thought, because of course I've been predicting all this time that the War Games match is going to be OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, and this just affirmed for me, man. When the three of them are eventually in that ring together, that pop is going to be insane.
That's going to be the way that Jay's over now. That fucking massive pop that Jimmy just got, and how they still treat Roman. When them three get back together, it's gonna be fucking nuts.
That's gonna be a huge moment. And I thought all of that stuff was handled very well. Then ended the night with the return, the final boss, The Rock.
Dwayne.
This was one of those. I'm sitting here saying that the Hell in a Cell match should have been the main event, but I absolutely hopped out of my seat when The Rock showed up. I was like, yes, we're back. We're back. Yeah. We are officially back. Rock
if Dwayne's here, you gotta put him at the end. Like, we're not playing. Come on.
Yeah, of course. Rock coming out in the fashion that he came out.
With his belt.
He's still doing the belt.
Why is he doing the belt thing, Phil?
Rock is hilarious, bro. I did not think I would be saying this coming into 2024, but Rock has absolutely been one of the highlights of this year in pro wrestling.
Yeah,
he's been great. He's been tapped in since he came back, and this return was great.
I just never thought it would be like, I thought that Rock would come back to WWE, but I didn't think he'd be so like, and when he comes back, he's The Rock.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing all the storyline stuff with him, and having him come back after the segment from the Raw after Mania, where he tells Cody, like, I'm coming back, and when I come back, I'm coming back for you. So imagine this guy coming back, and the guy that he wrestled next to at WrestleMania is helping you. He's like, yo, what is this? You're helping him against our family?
Doesn't even make sense.
No, it had that whole vibe of my man from White Man Can't Jump. I'm gonna go back to my car and I'm gonna shoot all of y'all.
Rock was annoyed. He's like, I didn't think I was gonna have to come back. I thought we like dealt with it. What's going on here?
Yeah, him coming back and seeing those guys, Rock and not Rock, but Roman and Jimmy, all celebrating with Cody of all people. He was not happy about that, and I have to imagine that's going to play into the WrestleMania stuff. I do not think The Rock is going to wrestle in a War Games match, guys.
No,
people are saying that. I don't see that.
Absolutely not.
And I've been thinking all this time, maybe this is leading to the OG bloodline. So Roman, Jimmy, Jay, probably Sammy, and maybe Cody as a 5-man team. But the more they build up this Kevin Owens stuff, it kind of makes me feel like in Canada, we're probably going to get KO versus Cody on that card, which means maybe we're going to get 4-man teams for a War Games match instead.
I can see that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they might be trying to go with the one-on-one title match for the pay-per-view. And I could definitely see that. People are going to speculate because there's so many damn bloodline members that because I keep seeing people be like, is tonight the night Zilla's gonna debut? And like, dude, Zilla's not gonna debut for a while, you guys. Like, this is not, I mean, he's not ready for this.
I mean, Hikuleo signed. There's that report, I believe, on Fightful Select that he's heading to NXT. Maybe he could come in and be a 5th guy and then head to NXT. I don't know. But No, it could go either way. I
Probably
think
be better to just do the 4-on-4.
Yeah, I think the 4-on-4 makes sense, and probably I really want to get Cody away from the bloodline, so it makes all the sense in the world to do all of this stuff and then do the world title match there instead of having him in the blood game and not the blood game, war games match.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought the Rock's return was executed very well. All of the story stuff and the spectacle around the main event, I thought was more interesting than the actual match, but in a good way because it made me
Yeah.
interested in where all of this stuff is going next.
And now I'm just thinking about it. If he's in the war games again, then that's 2 pay-per-views without a title defense, and I don't think they
Yeah.
want to do that. They should probably have
That's
put
what
him
I'm thinking
in that
too.
belt. Yeah.
But yeah, Rock being back and then immediately giving us another IG promo. He did the recording of him coming backstage and talking. Also leading to the capital for black women, black people. When he was walking around backstage and he was talking to all of those people that were working, everybody he walked past was black. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I
When
did.
he was like fist bumping people, like, "Hey man, fan of the
Mhm.
Rock, huh?" All of those people were black.
Yep, I do notice that.
Then he gets in his car and starts playing music, and he's trying to talk over the loud music. He's playing like ZZ Top.
The Rock is so funny, dog. With again his belt the whole time.
Very excited to get this guy back in wrestling and doing what he does best, man. He's been fantastic.
Yeah. He made like this. The bloodline shit would be totally dead in the water if at this point if he wasn't like involved like this. Like he still keeps like he's making. They're gonna main event WrestleMania again because he's involved. You know.
Yeah. I don't know where this goes. I said before, I think if you can do the Rock Roman match, now is the time to do it. Don't push it off. I've seen people say this could be a triple threat match. I don't think they should do that. Just do the Rock Roman match if you can.
Well, on the Observer this week, our homie Dave Meltzer said that The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania because he's busy.
I don't believe you. I think that's definitely some throw him off the trail stuff.
Yes, sir. I mean, you wanted to continue to be a surprise because like The Rock's gonna leave and come back again. You don't want to be like look forward to him coming back. No, you want it to seem like it's gonna be a surprise.
I don't think that they would have done all of that and had him come back and play off of all the stuff from earlier this year at a big pay-per-view, and they're not going to pay that off in some way.
Like if they didn't do Bad Blood, if he didn't come out at Bad Blood and Meltzer said that, I would have believed him. But why would he do this? Like he's not gonna, like Phil said, he's not gonna be at the War Games match. If The Rock's coming, he's coming for the show, the big show, you guys.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there is a way you can use him in a War Games match. I just don't see it happening. I think the way they did it last year with Orton is the best way to do it. Of them saying the entire time they have a fifth member and not revealing who it is, and then the night of like all 4 of them in the ring, and the 5th guy doesn't show up until the very end, and it's The Rock, and he comes in and clears the ring. You can do it that way, but the idea of him working the entire match and doing this very dangerous match that could risk your WrestleMania match, I don't see them doing that.
He's got. That's why I don't even feel like he could come in and clean house. They're like, we got this guy in the safest conditions, no cages involved, no extracurricular activities. Like we need one-on-one or tag. That's it. Like we can't get any deeper than that because he's just too much of a product to protect. It's The Rock.
Yeah,
like not even for just like WrestleMania, but like he has to do movies and shit. He can't be all beat up.
Yeah, I thought this led to some great stuff with SmackDown last night. The opening segment of SmackDown was very good. I thought Roman coming down and really cutting his best promo since he's been back, and doing all of the greatest hits, but also doing enough to separate the tribal chief as a heel character and what he's currently doing, because he gave it up to Jimmy. He didn't just be like, hey, I'm back and I'm in charge. He was like, yo, acknowledge Jimmy. And that's not something he would have done at the start of this year or even last year. So I thought that was a great way to
character growth.
Yeah, I thought that was a great way to signal, no, he's a babyface now. But you know, towards the end of his giving it up, like, we were rich, we were on top, we were running this thing. When I put my finger up in the air, I want y'all to see we're still the ones. And Jimmy goes, no, we're not. And he goes, you're still here. I still acknowledge you as my tribal chief, and I always will. but you're a chief without a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We're alone. I only showed up to help you because I saw you needed help. We need help though. It's just the two of us. We need help. And I think that was a great way to advance the stuff with Bloodline and to also promote Survivor Series soon, because that's definitely what's happening here.
Yep.
Building to getting the band back together. And just that moment of him saying we need help and the crowd starting to chant yeet because Jay is super duper over now. And salty Roman because he has more tension with Jay than anybody, because he doesn't really have any tension with Jimmy, because when he went away, they were still on the same side. But him being very salty at Jay when that crowd saying yeet and he said no yeet. And I thought that cliffhanger at the end of it of Jimmy saying, hey man, I feel you. I'm always here to help you, but I'm the only one at this point. And so he just left him in the ring like the end of Fresh Prince, where it's like, damn.
I'm hoping that, since I'm still not really on board with this dumb term, that Roman's like, what's up with that yeet shit, dog? Like, you are one. You don't have to say that, but I don't feel like that's gonna happen, because
that is absolutely not gonna happen. We are definitely heading to all three of them in the ring.
Oh no,
Jay leading a yeet chant, and it's gonna be super duper over.
Roman's gonna be yeeting too.
I don't think Roman's gonna yeet, but I just think that we're heading to a moment with him in the ring with those two.
Totally.
But yeah, I thought all the stuff from SmackDown was good, including the story stuff they did with the main event, the stuff that they did the backstage segment with Jimmy and Cody, where Jimmy called him Sea Dog.
That's what I call corn dogs. We did a couple Sea Dogs. We didn't talk about coming off of the back of that tag match from Bad Blood. There was a backstage altercation with the homie Cody Rhodes and our friend Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens turned his back onto Cody Rhodes. And so, Phil, they say that Triple H didn't tell production about this and nobody knew this was going to happen. And we're just so lucky that there was a fan up there with the camera to record this, or nobody would have ever seen it.
Yeah, the same day that we got those pictures of Punk signing his promo before he ran out there Survivor Series, and Triple H calling the audible, and Punk running through Gorilla and going right out there because he didn't tell anybody they was there.
Nobody knew.
I thought the way this was executed was very good. Because I just, even the angle they shot it at, it looked new, it looked cool, because we don't get much things like this. I thought it was a great way to do the Kevin Owens stuff of, hey, everybody's busy paying attention to this bloodline stuff, which is the point, and which is Kevin Owens' point. And afterwards, he's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this is what you want to do? You're siding with them? And so I love the idea that Cody, in the midst of this, has made all of these enemies, and he's had to side with the absolute worst of his enemies. And in the meantime, he's making even more enemies out of everybody that he came up along the way. Because even Rollins mentioned on Monday, like, I guess that's the thing that's happening. He's siding with him now after everything I did. And after the pact we made going into WrestleMania, you're just going to side with those guys, which leads me to believe that he's going to turn the heel as well. But it's just interesting. All of Cody's allies seem like they're all one by one turning heel. And the Kevin Owens stuff, I thought the way that was handled was very good. The way that it was executed on SmackDown was, I like a lot about it. I just wish it wasn't placed in that spot during the women's match, because it took a lot of the attention off of the women.
Worst spot for it to be in with what you're trying to sell to us.
And I mean, we talked about it on a post show last night, but if you're gonna give us this match and you're gonna hype it up, and this is, historically important match. This is the first time two teams of Black women have wrestled for the women's tag titles. You didn't really sell us on the importance of it, and you came away out of the middle of it where more people was talking about the Kevin Owens and Cody stuff than the actual match. And then you gave us a match, and the match was less than 5 minutes. I thought that did those women a huge disservice. it was unfortunate, but I thought the Kevin Owens stuff was very good. I loved the Kevin Owens got in the ring, and he's like, "I'm not supposed to be here. I'm suspended." But can you believe the nerve of this? Everybody's talking about how I turned on him. I did not turn on him. He turned on me first, and he's right because he's siding with the people that you're supposed to be against. So his whole thing is, I'm not wrong here. Why is everybody acting like I'm wrong and I'm the bad guy? I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah, that is a great argument because he was saying off rip, Kevin Owens has never been in this. Like every time Cody's like, "No, it's chill, it's real. Don't worry, we have a bigger fight to fight." Kevin Owens is like, "Nah, dog, I know what happened. I know what we've been through." So yeah, I'm with him. Like Cody kind of turned on him. Like if I tell you, "Yo, no, I don't fuck with that dude. I don't fuck with that dude. I don't fuck with that dude," and then you don't fuck with him also because he beat your ass for a long time, and then you pull up with him, you're having a tag match, dog. What's up? Like, what's up with you? Like, I'm about to talk about it. So like. Yeah. I'm with him, but it did still also kind of plays with Kevin Owens' character and what he stands for. So I like it.
Yeah, it plays into how he has been portrayed as a character. He's always kind of the guy that looks at the screen like, wait a minute, guys, none of this makes sense.
I don't see this.
Y'all don't see how this is crazy. Like these guys were a pain in my ass for a whole 3 years, and you're just gonna run over there and side with those guys, and you just want me to be okay with that? No.
Dancing and singing in the ring and shit. Look like y'all having a good time over there.
Yeah. But yeah, they tried to cut his mic off during this, and then he ran and picked up a headset and continued to talk, and that led to the pull apart with Cody coming down to the ring. Randy Orton at one point came out. I fully believe that Randy Orton is still instigating guys, and I do think he's going to turn heel. Everything he did in this segment, even punching Kevin Owens, and I really believe all of that is him instigating.
Yep, I definitely believe that. Like you're saying, all of Cody's friends are gonna turn is what the thing is, and it also plays into the "we helped you get there, but I want your championship," and there's always a target on your back, and it's hard for a champion to have a lot of friends because they all want what he has.
It's lonely at the top.
Yep.
And I think that is definitely a story they're telling. For a lot of people that were saying there is no story to this Kevin Owens stuff, or there's no story to Cody Rhodes reign as champion, boy, a lot of that did not age well because all of this is good. I just again
a couple stories at this point.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't put this in a spot that they did on SmackDown. But I do. But I do like all the stuff that they were doing with Kevin Owens and Cody coming out of pay-per-view.
I'm excited for Kevin Owens.
Pretty uneven pay-per-view on the whole, but the stuff that was good was exceptional. The stuff that wasn't good was very not good.
That's a fact. Not good, not good, not good. There's just a couple things they need to move on from. They just overstayed their welcome. So,
yeah. Should we get into this press conference?
Yeah.
So afterwards, there has been a pretty prevalent conversation on Twitter about the use of black wrestlers, particularly black male wrestlers, on the pay-per-views. And this was brought up at the press conference. Shout out to TJ Legacy, who's the guy that asked the question. And he asked specifically about this topic when Triple H was up there. And Triple H gave a terrible answer. I should get
first time I've ever heard it is what it like. I've heard this my entire life. Every year for the last 38 years of my life, I've heard people say this.
Yeah, I should get his direct quote because I don't want to misquote him. So bear with me. Let me get his quote up. I should have done this ahead of time.
No, it's all good. But yeah, it felt like this is, like I said before Phil gets to this is the reason that I created the BW 500, because people were saying this. And it's like when we were pitching for there needs to be more black talent represented in all companies, everybody would say to me, well, who is there? It should be based on talent and merit. It should be based on this. It's more than just about skin color. And it's like, well, yeah, you only say that when it comes to the black wrestlers, though.
Yeah, there are a lot of things about this that I did not like. Again, let me get this Let me get this quote up in front of me so that I can not misquote him. But here we go. So Triple H says in response to this question, I don't see the difference in anybody. I don't see the color. I don't see the nationality. I don't see any of it. I just see talent. I don't see the difference between men and women. I see the talent. We tell stories with those talent, how they can handle those stories, how they can represent those stories, how we can bring those stories forward. I don't keep track of any of that. I do what's relevant, what is the best in storytelling, and what's being delivered the best. Then that's what goes. No different than men and women who main events. Whatever the biggest stories are, that's where we go. Um, I hated this answer.
Well, somebody that did blackface on TV said that they don't believe in color. He did blackface on TV.
There's a few things that I don't like about this. Well, for one, you can't tell me that you don't see color because you, in character, told Triple H people like you don't win the world title. There are many things that he did in wrestling as characters that fly in the face of that. But let's just say for kicks to just put this in a vacuum and take that away from everything we've seen about Triple H over the years up to this point. In a vacuum, I don't like this quote because like you said, we've heard this quote from a lot of people that are trying to dismiss either claims of racism or claims of discrimination or anything similar. Now, I don't know that Triple H is racist. I'm not here to have a conversation about whether he's racist or not. I don't know him well enough to say that. Do I think that there are some things here that are troubling? Sure. But I don't want to have a conversation about whether he's racist. On just the face of him as a head of creative and him using black representation on this show, I don't think that that was a good answer to this question. I think very tone deaf. I think that it sounded dismissive because in the face of these things, when you say I don't see color, then you're telling me, all right, well, I don't see the plight or I don't see the conversation that needs to be had. You're saying that why are we even talking about this basically? Because that's not an issue.
That doesn't matter to me. I don't see that thing. I don't see those things.
Because if you say that, then you say that there is no issue with representation in wrestling, which there very much is. And I'm not here to sit here and act like, all right, well, WWE is the biggest culprits. I think that there's an issue with representation across the board.
All around. Yeah. I think indie, major, it don't matter.
Pro wrestling on a whole has been very white for a very long time. And so to act like, oh, I don't see color and I don't notice that, it just flies in the face of all that. It's just not a good thing to say to that. And with the topic at hand, I saw a lot of people say, all right, well, look at the shows. Look at Raw, look at SmackDown, look at who's the current NXT champion, look at some of the stories they're telling on NXT. Shout out to Obafemi. Just broke the record. It's currently the longest reigning NXT North American champion.
Wait, didn't he lose his belt on Tuesday?
Yeah, but he still broke the record. So he's still the longest reigning. And I do say to that, and this goes with his quote of, we just go with the stories. Okay, the best story, in my opinion, being told on Raw is the New Day storyline. So if you build up stories, the way these things traditionally work in wrestling is that the biggest storylines and stuff that has the most interest builds to something on the pay-per-view. You have no representation of how good that storyline has been with Kofi and Woods on this pay-per-view because you have no interest in doing anything with tag team wrestling. It's the same thing, and it's not the same thing with representation. It's the same thing with SmackDown. You've been building this story with Waller and Theory all year. There's no representation of that on this pay-per-view because you're doing this 5-card show with no tag team wrestling on it. I was saying during this pay-per-view, hey, you know what would have fit really well on this pay-per-view? Maybe that ladder match that you did on Friday where you had the Street Profits and they would have hit like fries and grease on this show, bro.
In Atlanta, the Street Profits.
Yeah. That would have hit. That felt like a pay-per-view caliber match that you could have put on this card. Again, if you're telling me storylines, the highlight of SmackDown for me has been Andrade versus Melo. And a lot of people brought up Melo with what he said to say, all right, well, they're booking Melo well. All right, why is there no representation of how good that storyline has been on this pay-per-view or any pay-per-view?
Ever.
In spite of what he said, I just don't think that there's any excuse you can make with, all right, I want to use the best talent available. All right, so are you telling me that you didn't have the talent available to put at least one black male wrestler on the last 3 pay-per-views? I just gave examples of guys that are in good storylines that could possibly be on these shows. I think a better answer would have just been like, we're working on it. We know of the criticism. We've got storylines in the works, and we're getting there. People just have to be patient with us. But to just say, I don't see color, to completely dismiss the topic at all, I just don't think that was a good answer.
Dismiss. It was very dismissive. And the thing that gets me is you're saying I put the best talent up. That means you're saying that none of the black wrestlers are talented enough. That's how I read it. I don't know. You don't have to, like, when I said it on the internet, people were like, that's not what he said. That's how I heard it. You said if the best talented people are featured on this show and those people aren't featured on this show, what are you saying? It's not even what Triple H said. I mean, he said that, and then Booker T reiterated it. He's like, "Well, where are the angles at? Why aren't they featured on TV? There's a reason." No, you're saying it, dude. They write these shows. They write this stuff. If the best talent were to be featured, you could write them into the fucking show.
Yeah. We got that report from Meltzer that the reason the big 3 were on this show as hosts was because they knew about the topic at hand, about there not being representation on these pay-per-views. Now, I don't know that if that's true, but that's definitely what I thought when they were announced. And that feeds into the segments we got. And maybe it's just me.
I don't want fucking backstage segments in a party I don't give a fuck about seeing my wrestlers interact with the rappers. I want to see my favorite wrestlers fucking wrestle. It's a crazy concept, but this is a wrestling show, you guys.
Yeah, but this is to my point and why I set the table earlier, and how you built this show around this being in a very a cultural capital for black people in Atlanta. And this show had a lot of black people on it. It had a lot of things from the culture represented strongly on this show, except for in the ring. It's a good example.
Except for the reason that we're here.
A good example I can make of this is the first Doctor Strange movie. And a lot of the visuals for it, a lot of the mythology is based around Asian culture. But then they cast a white person as the ancient one.
Yeah.
But you have this character with all of these trappings around them that's Asian culture. And it was kind of the same way here, where you had this show with all of these things from black culture and hip hop culture here, but not a single black wrestler to represent it in a ring. And I was just like, that's not crazy to y'all.
We kicked this off with Metro Boomin and fucking like we thought. I was like, oh, we about to get into this. This is gonna be a black ass show. And like, if you didn't watch any of the matches, you would think it's a black ass show, but all the matches were the exact opposite.
Yeah, that in itself just made it even more glaring that there was no black wrestler on the show. And I'm not one of those guys that believes, all right, okay, there was no representation here, so throw the whole thing out. But bro, this is Atlanta. You had all of these other things around the show that made this a black show. You couldn't put at least one black wrestler out there.
Atlanta, you guys, like the fucking Mecca. You couldn't put like nobody, nothing. Street Profits, Kofi, Melo, the women that you have hosting this show. Like, what do we need a fucking host for this show before? Hey, you guys, the show's coming on. We know we're here.
Yeah, I mean that brings me to a point that I've been thinking for a while. I just don't think this 5-card match thing works. No. Especially if you're gonna do 5 matches and then you're still gonna end up doing like a 3-hour plus show. All right, then if the show's still gonna be that long with all the filler stuff, the backstage segments, and all of the advertising, you can't add another match to this. You can't do at least 7 matches.
That's what drives me crazy about. Like, if you want to do 5-match cards, I'm with you. But are they gonna make that? They don't make those 5 matches longer. Like, half of them are still worked in a small amount of time. and they use so much filler and commercials and backstage. Like there'll be like 16 to 17 straight minutes between matches where they could have done another match. And it's like, you guys have the time, you have the space, you're on your own network. Like you dictate the pacing a lot of the times. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And like, if you're like, here, damn, these three hosted the show, that's not enough for me, dog. Well, look, they're hosting. What the fuck does that do? I want to see them wrestle.
Exactly. These women are champions. It's not like you're just putting two random black women and Naomi on the show. Two of them are champions. Like you could have put them in a match. And you put them in a segment that was a very Raw segment, by the way. It felt like one of those Raw 200 segments where, hey, look at all these people, look at all these faces back there. And it's just like in that time period, you could have put a match. You did that whole announcement segment in the middle of the show where he comes out and announces the Saudi championship match, and Gunther comes out and talks about Goldberg, which was very funny, by the way. The stuff with him and Goldberg was great, but you killed all this time with that segment. You telling me you couldn't fit a match in there,
dog? I'd rather, if Gunther's here, put him in a fucking match. Like I don't even, I don't even understand what's going on with
the way that I cackled when Gunther came out and goes, "It's not bad blood without me," in street clothes. I was like, what?
I still kind of feel like we're without you, dog. You're not working. Can't have bad blood without me. We're still having bad blood without you. You're just out here talking.
Yeah, it was just a lot about this that I didn't like. I thought that it was a bit, not even a bit. It was outright tone deaf to do all of that stuff around this show.
You're laughing in my face. Like, oh, Metro Boomin's here, fucking Quavo's here, but none of them are wrestling. They don't get to see these people that they're standing next to.
And some of the reaction I saw of, oh, well, you can't tell me he doesn't care about representation. Look how we're represented in hip hop culture here. Hey, man, listen, he's been telling you guys for a long time that he cares about celebrities being there. Look at Logan Paul. Bad Bunny, all of the stuff he's done with celebrities. I don't think that that's a good way to say, oh, but he does care about black people. No, he's showing you that he wants to make this pop culture imprint, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to look at all of this stuff around the show. I'm here for a wrestling show. If you're going to try and tell me, all right, look how black this show is, I want to see some black wrestlers wrestle.
It doesn't feel black to me if it's not represented in ring. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. I like all of these people, but like you're just like, this is the MTV Movie Awards and shit, or Video Music Awards. Like
it feels like lip service, does it not?
Yeah, it's like I understand what you're doing, but you're not doing what I want you to do, which is put fucking black wrestlers on these main shows where they can actually shine and not be hidden away, dog.
Yeah, and listen, I love to see hip hop represented so much in wrestling. I love the fact that there were so many rappers at this show that were actually excited about wrestling, and I think that was cool. But that's even more reason why you had a moment, and I think that it was a big missed opportunity to not put a team like the Street Profits on the show. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of doing Rolling Loud and sending the wrestlers you sent up there and not sending Hit Row. You have a group where their whole gimmick is hip hop, and this is a black stable, and you didn't send them. You sent wrestlers that had nothing to do with the culture. Like that's just, it's like, again, the 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards.
Yeah. It's like, no, we're giving you what you want. See, you wanted this. You wanted this hip hop crossover. You wanted these things, and it's like, not all the way that you're giving it up. Like, yeah, it's an effort, but it's not the best effort. And then you follow it up by saying you don't see color, you don't see that, you go by talent. It's like, you're playing with me, dog. This is a joke. This is a bit. You're fucking with me, huh?
Yeah, I just don't think that was a good answer to that question. I think he could have answered that question better. And I've seen people say, well, it doesn't matter what he would have said. It does matter because he's an executive in this company. And I think that
Credit Boy tells us he makes all the decisions all the time. Like, if anybody, this guy who has his name at the end of the show is very important what he says.
You can't tell me both. You can't tell me that he wants credit for all of these things, to the point that his name is in the credits after the show, but he don't want credit for the way that Black people are booked on the
Not
show.
that though.
You can't tell me those two things. Those two things don't line up.
No.
I'm sorry, but you
It
cannot do
doesn't
that.
match. Oh, that thing, no, he doesn't have anything to do with that. He has to do with everything here. What do you mean? Like, I'm thinking about the wrestlers. And like I said, like I tweeted about, if you're a Black wrestler and every time you go on to see an interview from somebody who works there, they're like, essentially, you're not talented enough to make the PLE, I would fucking scream, dog. If they're like, well, the talented people are the ones that are on here. Well, what are you saying about me then, who's backstage? What are you saying if all the talented people are out there?
But that's what I'm saying in all of the shows, and I don't want this to look like, all right, well, pander to me, put Black wrestlers on the show just for Atlanta. But again, you made such a big point of celebrating Black culture with everything else on this show. You're telling me you couldn't put one Black wrestler on this card? Of all the shows coming up, this card, you couldn't put one Black wrestler on there.
And I want to say out loud, I'd like it to be on record, the people that are still making fucking Cody jokes and there was a Black wrestler on here. Cody, dog, stop. Please stop.
We don't need it.
Stop.
We do not need it.
Please stop.
I've seen some of the other response. I've seen people say, well, what did you expect him to say? Or how would you expect him to fix this? I don't think this is that difficult, because again, you're doing stuff with Black wrestlers on your television show. I just think that these 5-match cards have not done enough to fit everybody in. It's done a disservice to some of the stuff you've been doing on weekly television. And I don't think that's like a wild thing to say.
No, I think WWE has a lot of time with what we saw with Raw this week and what you brought up with the women's division. They have a hard time with less time. You know what I mean? Like the less time that they get, they can't cram it in. And if that's what it feels like they're trying to do these 5-match card things to like stick to this thing and have less, but you guys are still, you're not managing your time well. So you're not managing those 5 matches well. We saw on Raw that like you can't, like you're so used to 3 hours that you could barely manage the 2 hours. So like you got to like figure out how to do this moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm what you feel. I don't want to be pandered to. I don't feel like you better put these people on here because blah, blah, blah. It's just like you're showing us talent. You're showing us the women's tag team champion, showing us Melody, showing us Sophie Femme. You have these people out there. Give them more. Do something with it. Make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I just think it was a missed opportunity with everything that you had coming into this show and building up all of this stuff around the culture being here. I mean, the last time I can remember the Migos were involved, they had that thing with Orton where they came out. Man, again, if you had the Street Profits here, you couldn't bring the Street Profits out, have them come out with like Future or somebody. Like you couldn't do something cool with them. That would have been dope. That would have added so much to this. And I just think that was a big missed opportunity. It's not so much I'm saying this is a right or wrong thing or, oh, this makes this company evil because they didn't do this. I just think it was a big missed opportunity.
When they had the Migos and they didn't have them face off with the New Day, another 3-man group, I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, what do y'all understand what this is?
Yeah, I just there were a lot of things about this.
How did the Migos and the New Day not face off? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there were a lot of things about this I didn't like. And I just think that there's a lot of smoke to the fire here, that people that continue to dismiss it. To sit here and act like there's no issue here with the main event scene in particular and how they haven't built anybody up to be in that. And you have 4 guys that have left this company this year. I don't think that's a coincidence. You got Ricochet that just left and he immediately leaves and he's on a pay-per-view somewhere else. You had this guy on speed, bro.
Yep.
It's the same thing with Lashley leaving, MVP leaving, Shelton. These guys all left around the same time, and in the same time this is happening, it's being pointed out that there have not been Black male wrestlers on the last 3 pay-per-views. I think that these two things are linked. I don't think that's one of those coincidence things that people bring up.
as someone who I was working on the BW 500 for the last 4 or 5 months, and WWE was a big topic for me because of this exact thing here. It's like no single stars are getting anything. Like Mello is featured on SmackDown and this never-ending thing with Andrade. Like the matches are great, but what does it mean? Like Obafemi's the only one that I was like, this guy is at least like getting something, but he's on NXT, so it's not the same. It's like I was just like, well, who's the one doing this? And they're like, well, Jade and Bianca. I'm like, even then they're like put to the wayside sometimes. They don't get the exact, like the women's tag team titles are like not in the position that they should be. So it's like it was very frustrating kind of looking at the landscape of WWE and the black wrestlers just because of it's weird over there.
Yeah, even if you look at the PWI and there not being any black male singles wrestlers in the top 20.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even TNA had
had somebody, Phil.
They had representation in the top 20. There was nobody from WWE, and I do think that that's indicative of how the main event scene has been booked. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this means that they're the main culprits when it comes to representation and they're the bad guys here. One of the things that I did not like when people were doing this with AEW and saying, oh, this company is very white, there's no representation here. I think it creates this narrative where, how do I put this? One of the things I very much did not like, and I said this at one point with the election, we're getting into the weeds, but we're here. One of the things I did not like with the election and Donald Trump and certain things is once you politicize racism and you make it where one side is embracing bigotry and embracing a lot of the negative conversation around it, the other side has no choice but to take the opposite side. And I think that with tribalism, inevitably, when you do these things where you set up one person as the answer to representation, then you have to make it seem like the other side isn't. And I just have no interest in doing that because, again, I think representation is this issue where every company can be doing better. Even if they're doing well at the moment, even though AEW has had moments with Swerve and all these other things where they've done well, they can and should do better. But when you present your content like, all right, well, AEW is the main place that's not getting this right. And there's a certain person that does this. And I've said from the beginning, I don't like that he does it because, again, it creates this narrative where, oh, it's just this company. And so my company that I love gets it right. No, and that's not what I don't want people to think, all right, I'm criticizing WWE in this moment for what they're doing because AEW or any other company I like gets it right. I think that every company can do better. And the problem when you have these conversations on Twitter where nuance is not a thing and people are not in a place to always have intelligent conversations around race and these kind of topics, it turns into a us against them thing.
Yeah. Well, if I say those Triple H press conference sucked, I hate that for black wrestlers. They're like, well, AEW, I'm not talking about AEW, dog. I'm talking about Triple H and fucking WWE here.
I just think on the whole, I think this industry still has a lot of room to grow when it comes to these things.
That's it.
And
this is all still new, you guys. Like having black world champions is a new fucking concept. Like all of this is brand new shit.
Yeah, I just don't want to paint this as, all right, well, because they're not getting it right, then this company is the place to go if you want to be treated well. Again, I hate that people have made that into the topic. That's not what this is. And you should be asking for better for this company so that there's more opportunities for black wrestlers to be used well across the board everywhere they go. And it's very funny seeing people as well do this. Also, NXT doesn't count. Of course, NXT counts, but it's hard to take that seriously from people that also, when you bring up Athena's accolades, or go, oh, well, Ring of Honor don't count, but NXT should count when you think it should. Like, but that's again why I say the tribalism shit does not help this topic, and I fucking hate it. And I wish people would stop doing that shit. I really do. And I think that has harmed this topic. I think that certain people, in the way that they've brought up representation and it being better here or better there, it's made it hard to have realistic conversations about it.
It's almost impossible because there's people that are speaking that aren't even qualified to speak on the thing. You know what I mean? And it's like we're getting all these outside voices that are saying things like you don't even fucking get it. You don't even understand what we're talking about here. Like you're just talking about this fucking wrestling. You know what I mean? Like your favorite wrestling company, and that's like it's way more nuanced and deeper than that.
Yeah, I hate that that's what this has turned into. Oh, well, my company does like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, every company, when you look at their world title picture, it's dominated by white men.
Yep. No matter which company, it could be any company in the fucking world besides, the ones
When
that
you
are
look at
black
their
and white.
like the lineage of champions at any company, it's littered with white men.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth of the matter. And again, I think that every company in some ways can and should do better. I just don't
Yeah.
think that means because this company has done well with representation at some points, and they are doing good things in this area that means they're above reproach.
Yeah. I don't think that. I also want to like not get it conflicted of because I saw a lot of people being like, well, they have a lot of like POCs, like there's Samoans represented, and there's Mexicans represented, and there, you know what I mean? And like, we are here talking about black people and black issues because that's why I got into this game. When I discuss this, when I'm angry about this, I'm angry about black representation. Like, I do understand that this is dominated by Samoans. This is the Bloodlines fucking company, but as a black man and as black representation hasn't been great ever in wrestling history, I'm just going to continue to fight for it to be better. And if it has to, we have to ruffle feathers and I have to yell at Triple H for saying a stupid ass answer, like these are the things that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think it's okay as well because I see a lot of people doing very weird things. It's okay to say I love where WWE is a company and that I have faith that they're eventually going to do better by their black wrestlers, but also still acknowledge that that was a bad answer. You can say both things. Both things can be true.
You don't have to protect that answer. You could be like, yo, look, they're trying. I think that in the future they're going to do this, but being like, he's right is not the fucking way to go about this.
Yeah, no, I just don't think that was a good answer. And I think there's something to be said about his track record in this year of giving not great answers. I mean, we had his answers during Royal Rumble weekend with the lawsuit and him saying he didn't read the lawsuit, or his very flippant response to that question about Gulak and how that turned into a whole mess with Fightful. And then he's just had multiple times this year where he got a question that wasn't even that tough and it turned into a controversy when it didn't need to, when he could have just gave a better answer.
Easily. He could have been like, yeah, we're working on it. I heard all your give the response that you gave to Sean Rossap in his fucking email. Hey, I heard what they're saying and we're listening. We got you. You could have just said that same fucking thing that your PR
Was that a thing? Did he
I'm putting that on there. But I feel like WWE definitely sent out some PR after the internet was mad, of like, no, it's not like that. It's chill. They could have said that same shit, but he had to be like, actually, I don't see when people say they don't see color as a black man. I never in my fucking life want to hear that. If you're saying that to me, you're saying you don't see me. That's it. I don't there's no if, and buts about it. There's no way around it. If you say you don't see color, you blah, 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 you are eliminating me as a black man. Don't ever me.
Even if you have good intentions, there's such a bad history of people with that response. I mean, it's the same as when you hear, oh, well, I have black friends, or I don't have a racist bone in my body. Usually people that say those things
or people try to dress it up as like, I don't hate black people. I hate everyone. Shut up, dude. Get out of my face.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Not a great.
I don't want to hear that. I don't. Especially as like I said, as a wrestler that's back there that's listening to this. Oh, you don't see color? Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about of him answering that question. It's not just us as fans hearing that and feeling uncomfortable with that answer, but I have to imagine the wrestlers back that heard that didn't feel great about it. And I don't think it was a coincidence that you sent Booker of all people out there to defend that answer.
The same guy that you told You guys aren't good enough for this. The same guy that you motherfucking made us feel horrible about. Like the fact that Booker's the one that be like, actually, it's chill. I don't want to fucking hear it, Booker T. I swear I do not want to hear it from you. Out of all people, the one that's still defending that happened, you guys got to get a different. But you guys better hire Mark Henry to fucking do something because Booker T's not the one we want to hear.
Yeah, it's frustrating because they are doing good business. WWE is in a better place than they've been in a very long time. The product is hot again. They're winning, and to still get kind of stuff like that, it's just like, hate to hear it, man.
Sucks. That sucked. Especially again after that pay-per-view and what you're trying to do with it in Atlanta, and then that's what
going to Atlanta and saying I don't see colors.
He said that in Atlanta, dog. That's crazy. That's like me going outside in Oakland, like, hey, I don't see color. I don't know what. I don't see no black people. I don't see nothing. Y'all are all just gray. Nah, dog. That's not how this works, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Very unfortunate situation. It's just and I feel like with how they're listening to fans and how they are going, they're going to try to improve it. They're going to try to work on it, but it's, maybe this stuff like this is needed. Maybe you need to be told you give horrible answer. Maybe you need to be told you're on the wrong track.
Well, the other part that sucks about this in his answer, if he would have gave a better answer, now when they do push somebody, you're going to make it seem like, all right, that person is being pushed because you guys' feet were held to the fire and not because it was the right thing to do. And I hate that about this because the wrestler that potentially get pushed doesn't deserve that. No. But he in some way set them up for this by not answering that question better.
Mm-hmm. Affirmative action champion coming at you.
Yeah. Unfortunate all around.
It's just, I hated it. But, it is what it is. Again, like I said, he shot me the alley-oop for the BW 500, so it is what it is. Let's get into a few super chats. Hey, what's over there says, speaking of SmackDown, remember when Cody was a no-limit soldier for a few weeks on BT?
Cody doing the aunt thing was hilarious. That was one of the funniest bits from BTE. That of course spawned that notorious shirt with him on the front with the fur coat and everything. What a time.
Controversy that shirt brought. Chung Season says, currently outside, so just popping in to show support to my guys. Appreciate you, Chung.
Appreciate you.
I want to get outside too, but I'm not going to be outside at all today. Samuel Muscle says, hustling like my mom's mom fell. I had to pick Grams up. Happy Saturday, blessed beyond measure. Hope y'all have a good one. Love always to my favorite podcasters. #squad. Appreciate you, Sam. Thank you for being with us on this Saturday. Van Twinblade says, KO has never been heel. Everyone betrays KO. #justice for KO. #stop slandering KO.
I don't know about that. He very much was a heel when he decided to throw Sammy across the ring apron at the best moment of his career on NXT.
Totally. That was definitely him. His best friend. That's the huge heel moment. Hey, what's over there says, he doesn't see color, but you had two black women be the host of your Atlanta pay-per-view, or Priest, Vega, and Bad Bunny were your focal points of pay-per-view in Puerto Rico. Something don't add up.
That's what I'm saying. You can't say that, and you do a lot of other things that show me you do. You have a lot of things built around people's nationality. You have a lot of groups where people of the same nationality are in the same group. And I'm not one of those people that thinks, oh, if you put people in the same group that are the same race or nationality, it's automatically racist. I don't believe that. But again, you can't then tell me you don't see color when you've booked these things.
You have a group called LWO, dog. What are they? Who are they?
Out of Del Fantasma. Like, you've got all of these groups that are
like, who are they? What are they? It says, then the SmackDown women's tag match happened. HHH disgusting.
Yeah, and that was the other part. Doing that, and man, there was a lot of stuff about the women's stuff this week that felt very Divas era-esque. Having to catch all stuff with the women on Raw, and then doing this to the women on SmackDown, throwing the KO and Cody stuff in the middle of it. And then you're still doing the Chelsea stinks stuff in the middle of it. Yeah, I don't like any of that.
So bad. Wrestling.zip says, what order do you see the remaining bloodline returns? Jay, Sammy, Paul, something else? Happy Saturday from Brooklyn.
I definitely think that Jimmy is going to be the one that starts appealing to Jay to come back and help them because Roman is going to be too stubborn. And so I think it's probably going to be I think it's going to be Sammy first, and I think Jay's probably going to be the last one to join because in Jay's mind, I don't need you guys. I've proven that I can do this on my own. I'm a champion. None of you guys are champions. Y'all talking about we're down bad. Y'all are down bad.
Y'all are down bad. I don't need to help y'all. I've moved on, honestly. Like, it's actually detrimental for me to go back and help y'all. I feel like Paul Heyman, though, I think they're gonna wait a while. He'll definitely be last. Then Tin Ruza said hate swerves. Lou was, I don't know what this says.
I think he says hate swerves value question.
Value was question. Okay. Just a couple of typos there. Not Tin Ruza's fault. Hate swerves values was question. Good, he could call it out. Yeah, totally. That's kind of sprung a little bit of this too, is that market value stuff and how they presented Swerve, you know?
I think it was very weird watching people get upset at Swerve about his answer on Breakfast Club to that. And also people being upset that Swerve has been in the middle of this topic of conversation of the way they book black wrestlers. It's been one of those things where people on that side don't like Swerve, so they don't want to hear the point he's making. They don't like the messenger, so they're ignoring the message. Exactly. And I just will never understand being in a place as fans where you're going, hey, well, you're a black wrestler that worked there. This is your experience working there, but you're wrong. No, they probably know better than we do because they work there and it's their experience.
Every time they tell somebody that did it, you're wrong. No, actually, listen to these things that I don't know about. I just read about. It's like, dog, how are you?
Yeah. I mean, and you had two black wrestlers around the same time saying things about the way they valued them when they were there. But somehow that turned into, why are you always talking about WWE? It's like, well, this was my experience there.
Don't talk about your experience. That's all of our super chats. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are dope.
Appreciate you. We definitely need to get into some of these humper chats because we have a lot of them because we have not read any of them. Gonna hit that and then we're gonna get out of here.
Because I got another pod to talk for about 4 more hours. Hopefully you guys join Denise and I later for the WrestleDream watch along.
From Tony P says, Credit Boys lust for the spotlight at the post-show scrums, always finds a way to make himself look bad. It makes me mad that he said that shit. And the production made all of these packages highlighting all the rappers that showed up to the show to promote SmackDown. Yeah, again, that's part of what I didn't like about it. If you're gonna promote this as this thing, look, it's cool again to be wrestling fans because look at all of these rappers here, but then you have all of these black wrestlers on your roster and none of them were on the card. That just didn't sit well with me.
Looks away.
More from Tony P says, I also don't like Red, but that pick was nasty as hell for him to take. It's like I forgot about that. I forgot about that. First, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Wait, what happened?
I completely forgot about that. He's talking about the picture with Sexy Red from the night after, where and Sexy Red's got the homage to the MAGA hat on.
That whole thing. They were kind of. We didn't even get to them being nasty in their tweets of trying to relate or whatever. I'm like, could you guys stop? What did he say? What was Triple H's tweet? They ate or some shit. I was all dog.
Yeah, do your poses.
No,
there were things about that felt kind of cringe-worthy to me. But yeah, Tony P says I don't like Red, but that pick was nasty as hell for him to take. It's like he has no self-awareness of this shit. That's why I say WWE doing all this hip-hop shit recently is just for optics because all of the talk about black talent recently. Yeah, it's hard to look at it that way. Not look at it that way, rather, because of the other stuff that you're doing around. Tony says there's an issue with black female talent as well. when was the last time BFAB had a match? Maxine has had more matches than her on the main roster, I believe. What's Naomi and Mia's role on a small SmackDown roster, despite being really popular? Yeah, I that is a very good point. That remember at that point how they were trying to do this whole sympathy parade for Maxine, and she was given a lot of chances to succeed. But I feel like when you do have somebody like BFAB, she's not given those chances to wrestle. And also, you have somebody in Naomi that went away and was champion. Bro, she's pinned your champion twice. Give her the title match. What's going on? Like, what's the hold up?
Yeah, she went out and made it better for herself, and they were like, "Oh no, not over here." It's been weird. I hope they do eventually push Naomi because she's still so ready.
Yeah. See. Oh, he says, what about the 2 black women on Raw? One is injured, but there were never plans for her when they when they take when they took her in from the draft. Oh, you're talking about Kiana James. I was confused before. The other is just missable. Then there's the Dave report about why the big 3 were the hosts. I won't be shocked if it was indeed true. And then it goes on to say, look at NXT. 2 black men were sent back to NXT from Maine, both whom were given fair shots. One black woman is only being marketed for her ass, not her talent and vast improvement. 2 from last night are improving, but we see how they do women's tag teams. Yeah, I think the other part that was kind of disappointing about this is that Jakara and Lash looked good in that spot. They showed some good tag team offense, but I just wish there was more of it. I wish there was more of the match to sink our teeth into. And I don't think, because I've seen people say, well, you didn't want to expose them. You could have done a match that showcased what they're good at and accentuated their strengths and had it be over 5 minutes. Having it be less than 5 minutes is OD. Come on now.
Yeah, it's like we don't need them to go 30 minutes, but can they go 8 minutes? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't get it.
With that match, especially with the way it was hyped up. And again, if you're gonna put this, historical importance behind it, you could have did more with that. That's all.
I would have rather you just had it on fucking NXT if that's the case. If they're gonna get more time, like, what the hell's this?
Yeah. He goes on to say, there's Wes Oba, and Javon. However, we know Javon, Wes, or both may get slotted into Rico's old spot on Maine. Oba is a star, but we'll get the Braun treatment or Braun treatment. Will So or Kehlani translate to the main roster well for big roles? I just don't trust Triple H. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's promising stuff that they're doing on NXT. I hope that it turns into something on the main roster. I think that Carmelo has benefited a lot from the roster kind of being shallow and having these highlight matches with Andrade. So hopefully they do something big with him coming up. I think the big opportunity with him is to do the triple threat match with him and Andrade and LA Knight. Hopefully that ends up on the Survivor Series card.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hopeful for what's going to happen with Oba Femi, but I'm like, they did just lose Lashley. Like, I don't know if a big black guy with charisma or whatever, with strength and all the things is going to really get over on the main roster. But I like to hope so. Like, people keep saying, like, he's the next up guy.
He's a bit different. You know how they feel about their projects. This because as much as you can put on Lashley being a star, he had to go somewhere else and prove he was a star and come back. Yeah. Oba Femi is their guy. That's somebody they built from scratch, and so they're always going to be invested in making sure that works.
True.
Yeah, and again, shout out to Oba. I think he's dope. I think Javon is dope. They've got a ton of
some people in there,
man. Wes is fantastic, man. They've got guys that they can push.
That's what drives me crazy about this whole thing and where it ends up with people like, well, who could they do? I'm like, dude, they got people that work here that are fucking talented that could be on these PLEs.
Yeah. A-Shock asked in our regular chat, what is your opinion on Kehlani being booked on NXT? I think Kehlani's been great as the first women's North American champion. I think they're doing good things with her. She's done better than I initially thought. So I don't have many complaints about it. Again, I do think there are good things they're doing with their young talent they're building up, and that makes me slightly hopeful for things that they're going to do moving forward. We just want to see consistency. That's all.
That's it. I like Kehlani Jordan a lot. She's a huge RVD fan. I love me some RVD, and she does a lot of his spot. She does a lot of spot foo. I think she's doing a really good job in her position. It's going to take time and stuff to really develop, but I think as far as a base and where she could go, she's looking good.
Yeah. Tony wraps it up by saying, "I feel like I am just rounding now, so I will try to back it back up to fun things and unique thoughts." He says, "I'm watching Bad Blood today at work since I haven't had time this week. However, from what I heard, I know I should only have high expectations for the opening and ending, low ones for the middle of the show. Maybe I enjoy one of those. Who knows?" Yeah. Again, I thought it was a very uneven match.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Raw really had 3 highlights: the Donnybrook match, the main event, the New Day storyline. It was so annoying of a show that I chose to watch an Atlanta game who had fun games with Philly. I really thought the Eagles had that one. Yeah, I thought Raw was better overall, though. The 2 hours, I think it's an improvement. I'm sorry. I prefer 2 hours over 3 hours.
Yeah, if they could figure out the format and getting the women involved and everything, I definitely prefer it. But they just got to figure out how to format the shows now.
Yeah. More from him. More from Tony P. He says, NXT was more interesting and more eventful, even if that show wasn't that good. Hell, SmackDown was better, even with that issue. Raw again this week with the return of Petty KO. Your Petty of the week was overall messy, and I love it. Yeah, I think the main shows were good. I didn't catch NXT, but I thought SmackDown was good. I thought again Raw 2 hours, man. You get no complaints out of me. There were things I didn't like about the show, but it still breezed by.
Word.
He said AEW was decent, nothing major. I didn't laugh when Brian was doing the yes chant as Judah was dying behind him looking for help. The boy is going to Screw Dragon for that. Mercedes Emmy was cool shits along with the 4-way. No, I died laughing at first of all, the way that they filmed this whole time Mox and Brian are fighting backstage, and then you cut back to the arena and Yuta is just getting beat up by the 3 of them. At one point, Marina is just holding him up, hitting him with like these Muay Thai knees, and he is just getting they are just giving it to him out there. So Brian finally gets back into the arena and he's fighting with Brian. And he never at one point turns around and helps Yuta.
No.
Yuta is laying on the ground, reaching for him. And the whole time he's just yes.
Yuta's reaching my stomach, my guts. I got hit in the stomach 8 times with the hammer. And Brian's just nah, let me get these yes chants off real quick.
Hilarious, bro.
Amazing visual. I laughed at that 10 times.
That visual was very funny. I don't think that Yuta is going to turn heel, but it does help Mox's point of it makes it look like you're more worried about your own glory than making sure this guy can fend for himself.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You're hurt. Everybody's hurt in this ring, but you gotta get your yes chance off.
More from Tony P says that it is funny that they explained the reasons for Stat's turn last night. I really wished her versus Camille was on the card tonight. Speaking of Stat, the rumors about why her and Stoke aren't a partnership is done. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the rumors, but no, some of that segment last night from Statlander where she goes, I know where everything went bad. It was Mercedes. It's all her fault. I started feuding with my best friend. I started believing Stokely, all because of Mercedes. It's all your fault. And then Mercedes responding on Twitter of, cry me a river. Everybody's problems are my fault. I thought that was really funny.
I mean, good story to tell.
Boy. More from Tony P. He says, with the way they were joking on Twitter yesterday, I believe it isn't for personal reasons. But what I do know is it makes me wonder what wrestlers we think dislike each other backstage are really cool with each other and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, we never know the whole story. I say that all the time.
Yeah, there's so many things that we think we know and people that we think we know, the stories behind that we don't know anything about.
Yeah. The last one from Tony P. He says, also Jimmy Jacobs news and the things he supposedly had a hand in creatively. What have you two heard personally through the grapevine? I don't know too much about what he was involved in. I don't know any of the specifics about that. Again, I think some of this is coming from this Ebu basis.
Right.
I didn't hear any of this.
Only time I try to get research on who worked on what is when I see an amazing match. I'm like, I wonder who the producer was for that match. That's legit the only time I'll be like, hey, who produced that match? But other than that, I don't care, man. It's a wrestling show. Who's back there writing it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's usually Chris Hero that's producing it. Shout out to my homie Chris Hero. Dick.
We got one from D-Lo Diggs. He says, happy Grapsody Day. Just painting my life away, then grinding out in the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, running the phase. One love. Yeah, I haven't played this game. A lot of my friends already have it.
Yeah,
it's dope.
A lot of excited homies about this new Dragon Ball game.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the Tenkaichi games, which I've heard it plays a lot like those games. So yeah, I'm eventually gonna get it. I've been watching the original Dragon Ball series, not Dragon Ball Z. The original series. So it's funny when you say Dragon Ball, a lot of people think, well, Z, but the original series, I've been binge watching it. I don't know how they got away with this show. The time period it came out in the 80s.
That's why.
There are a lot of things on that show that they could not get away with today.
Like, because it came out in the 80s and they were fine with those terrible things. Like, even some things in the 90s and early 2000s, I'm like, oh, we cannot do and say that anymore.
Yeah, and I was like, there was the episode I watched yesterday, and I didn't remember it being as bad as it was, but I'm assuming I probably just watched the censored version in America, and that's why I remember it differently.
Also a thing.
Yeah. Last Humper chat from Smiley. She says, afternoon, guys. Hope you are doing well. I forgot AEW had a pay-per-view tonight. Should be a good show. If it isn't, 5+ hours. Hi, Reggie.
Hello, my friend Tracy. Love you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's going to be very long. Again, if you want to join Denise and I, we're going to be on the watch along on her channel. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. There's all of our Humper chats. I don't know if we have any super chats left, but
we have one. Lab Glass says, just showing you guys some love. Appreciate that for our last super chat of the day. Y'all are amazing supporters. Y'all are amazing people. Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I am trying very hard to not make our show 4 hours, but it seems like we always have ton of stuff to talk about, a ton of chats to get into. I just want to run through this New Japan card for King of Pro Wrestling coming to you October 14th. Very excited for this show. Could be a crowning moment for a guy that I've been rooting for all year. So very excited going into this. See, we got easy breezy 9-match card. Hiromu Takahashi will be taking on Mystical on this card, which very much looking forward to that. That sounds like heat. Got Bullet Club War Dogs, Clark Connor and Drilla Maloney taking on the Jet Setters for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. TMDK will be taking on Rogue's Army for the IWGP Tag Team Championship. That's Mikey Nichols, Shane Hayes taking on Bad Luck Fale and Caveman Ugg. Very random matchup.
You said those names, I was like, what?
Yeah, very random matchup. Got also Shingo Takagi will be taking on Ryohei, which is the newest member of TMDK. Pulled up at the last pay-per-view. That was a big, exciting addition, not just to New Japan, but to that faction. They're going to be wrestling for the Never Open Weight Championship match. If you didn't see like the last handful of pay-per-views coming up to this, we did get an awesome Shingo and Hanare match that led up to this. Also, if you have not watched that Hiromu match from the last pay-per-view, the pay-per-view before last with Hanare, also excellent match. I thought Hanare was a great open weight champion. I wish his reign was a little bit longer, but he has some strong matches while he was champion. We also got Jeff Cobb taking on Yota Tsuji and Ren Narita in a 3-way match for the New Japan World Television Championship. That should be a
Nice.
strong one as well.
Mhm.
A 6-man tag team match: Roshi Tanahashi, Shota Umino, El Phantasma taking on House of Torture, which sure shenanigans will be abound.
Mhm.
For the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, Doki will be taking on Sho. Also got David Finlay taking on Hiroki Goto for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. The
Mhm.
main event, though, one I am really excited about, 2024 G1 Climax winner Zack Sabre Jr. will be challenging Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Big story here is that Zack will be challenging him ahead of Wrestle Kingdom because he wants to win the belt and take it in a Royal Quest. And I do think that Zack Sabre will win this belt. At least I hope that he's going to win this belt. There are things about it that makes me a little bit worried. They're still teasing Naito versus Hiromu, and
Mhm.
I do think there's a chance that Naito could win and we end up getting that match. But I just think it's Zach's time. I think you got to put
Yeah.
that belt on Zach.
It feels like everything we've gone through this year. Zach's had a crazy run. The climate, like this feels like Zack Sabre's moment right here. The fact that he picked the King of Pro Wrestling show to do it, like I feel like this will be it. But like you said, you never know. They New Japan has done some interesting things sometimes when we think we're going somewhere and they're going in different directions. So you kind of never know.
Yeah.
But it should be Zach though.
Yeah, very, very much excited for this show. I almost feel
Mhm.
like I'm more excited for this show than WrestleDream in this way because I'm
Mhm.
so invested in Zack Sabre potentially becoming champion. And then we have so many cool matchups. Like, man, I think that Hiromu Mystical match is really going to hit.
That's gonna be heat.
Yeah, very excited for that card.
Mhm.
Big part of this big wrestling weekend. And hopefully people check that out on New Japan World.
So busy. It's a busy ass October, you guys. Like it's just getting started. There's so many wrestling shows happen. We actually got another super chat, our last super chat from Meet Normus, who says, "Sup partners, I found $5 in my laundry. Y'all can have it. If Triple H only sees talent, why the F isn't Montez Ford a champion or Big Dogs?"
Yeah, I just don't know what they're doing with Street Profits on the whole, but Montez is one of them guys, man.
Yeah.
That guy, they could be doing so much more with him.
I feel like they're missing the boat.
Yeah. But yeah, there's all of our topics, there's all of our humper chats. As always, appreciate you guys for the support. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. You got some stuff to promote. You got a live stream, right?
I got the live stream watch along later today with Denise. If you guys want to be there, it starts at whatever time the wrestling show starts. I don't think we're gonna do the 0 hour. We're gonna get right into the main show, and yeah, I think that's it.
7 my time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But yeah, appreciate you guys as always. This has been Grapsody, episode 157. I'm Phil Lindsey. It's Righteous Reg. It's been a blast, but we are out of here.
Peace.